What? How did I get here? I know this bedroom. What? What? What?
That's perfect. That is perfect. We completely
Hello.
improvised that, guys.
Are we live?
Ah, he beat me to it. Yeah, so, guys, you remember this stupid, ugly... He's just like me.
Matt, stop talking about yourself like that. Oh, wait.
Dude, we look like fucking clones. I can see why people...
Yeah.
Dude, at least Sam isn't here. Yeah, guys, in case you're wondering, this isn't like me from the future. I think it's not my other incarnation. No, this is my brother Joe.
No, I'm the previous
Yeah.
Matt.
Joe's
Yeah.
the 10th, I'm the 11th. But no, seriously, you might remember, Joe has actually been on my channel once or twice before.
I'm very forgettable.
Because you were in like Portal 2's 10th anniversary stream for a bit of it.
I was in Portal 2. I've probably interrupted a couple of times to say dinner's ready.
Yeah, like, because, just family household stuff.
Yeah, I love I love the spam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Joe's definitely been in chat a few times. But yeah, guys, if you don't know, this is Joe. He's my brother. And he's going to be joining me today for this extra special Doctor Who Tierlist stream. Yeah, so just to catch up with chat. Hello, Livy, Banana Boy, and Ethan. Guys, True Player was planned to join us again, but he might just stick in live chat because of tech issues. But either way, he's here. Again, Tasha is not, but, I substituted my other sibling. Guess I'll bring on Sam for Series 3, maybe. Probably won't happen, but yeah. The middle eight, yeah. I always like to have YouTube links for the intro music, so I just went with the best upload I could find of the Series 2 theme tune. But then I realised, wait, I've got it on Spotify. I can have the whole album version with the middle eight because I've actually got it here. So I played that at the end because I remembered. Anyway, speaking of the description, all of the links are down there. If you want to, well, I guess Ethan's not here. And you guys know him. You've seen him before. But if you want to go check out Joe, I've tagged his YouTube channel, obviously, which is here.
It needs updating quite badly.
Yeah, everyone says that. But he's actually more active on his Instagram.
Yeah.
Which I'm not signed in because I don't use Instagram much anymore. But if you want to check out Joe's content, the link's below. He has an Instagram account. I mean, you can speak for yourself, mate. How are you? Who are you? Introduce yourself.
I don't know.
What are you doing here, mate?
Well, you kidnapped me and you've been feeding me on fish heads for the last fortnight.
Precisely. Yes.
Yeah. No, I'm one of his older brothers.
Bro, so confused. Oh my god, you had one of a meta crisis regeneration. Nice one.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
I don't know, not much to talk about. I'm doing a master's at the moment in film.
Yeah. I'm doing my undergrad degree. Joe's doing a master's. He's a bit older than me, guys. It's
yeah.
it's
I've even got grey hairs now. I mean, you can't see them because
Joe, you're 29.
28.
You're 30. I mean,
no,
you're not that old.
I'm Groot.
Oh, Joe, I just realised we don't have a QOTD yet. A question of the day.
All right.
See, I don't know
How
if you
does it
know
work?
how this works, but I like to give people a question each stream, and the best answer in chat wins a shout out. There's whole rules to it. It's all in the description. How about you come up with the one for today? Just for fun, we could... oh, you got your hydration? Feel free to put it
I got
here
my
if you want.
hydration. Stay hydrated.
Or maybe over there, whatever. But yeah, guys, hold on to your hydration, because Joe, if you want, you could come up with the QOTD, and you could pick the winner. It's
Cheers.
something I've started doing lately. It'd be a fun little thing. It's actually Ethan's idea, I think.
All right. Here is my question, and I'm going to theme it to go...
It's got to be themed, man. It's got to be connected. Tell us.
I'm trying to think of something that's specific to Doctor Who Series 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is what we're doing today. I took this clickbait tier list here.
Here's one for you. In Doctor Who Series 2 Electric Boogaloo, one episode near the tail end of the series features the first reference to Mr. Saxon.
Joe, don't make it a trivia question. It should be something open-ended because I pick a winner based on how well they argue.
Okay.
Like, what's the best or what's the worst? What's your favourite? Or
fair enough.
What did this well?
All right.
Sorry, I should have explained that. Yeah.
No. It's okay. It's okay. My bad. What? Oh God.
What?
Yeah.
What? What? That's going to be the QOTD for now.
No,
Guys,
no.
We'll come up with a real one soon, okay? Joe, I'm going to give you some time to think. Just tell me when you got an idea.
So, it has to be open-ended.
Yeah.
Any other criteria?
I'm just going to have that in the meantime. No, like, basically just, you know, it's like kind of a debating test. Someone tests debate skills as a debate direct bonus.
Okay.
So it's like, you know, the winner, the most unique, creative, clever, funny, interesting, honest answer, you know, there's no strict criteria. I just kind of pick randomly which one I like the most.
All right.
You can pick.
I'll mull it over.
Yeah. You have to come up with one soon. But anyways, guys, so it's going to be the same as last time. I have notes here that I made while I was rewatching everything.
Whoa.
And I'm going to try and go through this efficiently because I got down my thoughts while I was watching. So obviously we've done Series 1 already. We're starting with New Earth in Series 2. And this tier list is complete clickbait. This is... no. Obviously. So the way this works, we're getting... The tier list series I found has all of the episodes by actor playing the Doctor. So we're actually not going to be including the Christmas Invasion, funnily enough. And I'm just going to pick out the correct ones. And also, Joe's going to have his own tier list here. I want Joe's tier list on screen. So what I'm going to do is add a row below on each to distinguish.
Right.
So, Joe, you can just tell me where you'd rank everything.
Okay. Thanks, man.
You ever done tier list work?
Yeah. I've done the odd one. I know that Harbo Holmes is quite big on them.
Yeah, I don't watch a lot of Harbo Holmes, but dude does great Doctor Who content. Like,
he does.
Harbo Holmes is, you know...
I know he started on Series 8 recently. He's a big Peter Capaldi fan.
I've been watching through it, but yeah.
Yeah.
You should get all the episodes. I've got iPlayer as well, actually, so we can go find them. We'll just grab them as we go. But yeah,
nice.
Here's Series 2. I've been watching it, as you can see. Okay. Alright, so before we begin, any questions? You know?
I'm still.
Oh, you guys can't see. I'm an idiot. Sorry, I've got not my display capture working. It's because I got a new monitor, guys. It's been a bit fiddly. Here we go. Yeah, so here's Series 2, and here's the Joe and Matt tier lists.
While we're prepping ourselves for this discussion,
this is great.
Just on a personal level for me, with Series 2, because I remember when Doctor Who came back, but I sort of had a very passing knowledge of it when I was younger. I knew about Tom Baker, I knew about the Daleks, I even knew about Peter Cushing.
Yeah, the Peter Cushing movies.
And I remember in 2004 briefly glimpsing a cover of Doctor Who magazine, or an advert for it somewhere, with Billie Piper on the cover, introducing her as Rose. Because when I was younger, like, I would always buy the Beano and the Dandy, and I'm also a lifelong Star Trek fan. You're welcome, nerds. And they would always have Doctor Who adverts in there as well, which I always thought was quite nice, especially in hindsight, because they're so very different, and yet they are the titans, or among the titans of science fiction.
Pretty much.
And with the fact that both franchises, have some very significant stuff happening this year. Like for Doctor Who, it would be the 60th. For Star Trek, it's the return of the Next Generation cast.
That's what it's building up to.
And like David Tennant's Doctor, they're very near and dear to my heart. I put out a thing on Instagram the other day saying, okay, the fact that I've just realised these are both happening in 2023 is kind of a big deal, and it's going to carry me through the year.
Dude, 2023 is a big year for a lot of things. Chat, you guys will say as well. Obviously, you know, Five Nights at Freddy's will be real in 8 months, but also Star Wars is popping off with like Mando season 3 and that kind of stuff, which is pretty huge. There's
this is the way.
I don't know what Marvel's doing, but you know, there's like a lot of IPs which are just kind of
ants
kicking off this year.
Ants.
Okay.
Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania.
Yeah.
Oh, and Guardians 3.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
And Secret Invasion.
Anyway.
And they've just announced a Spider-Man Noir series that's going to be on Amazon Prime.
Wait, I actually don't know. Livy, what is the correct response? If someone says hello, oh, you mean like hello there? Oh yeah, I can't.
Hello there.
Yeah, no, guys, Joe knows. Joe knows. Joe introduced me to that. You know, like 15 years ago, probably. Yeah, Star Wars. You and Sam. I mean. Anyway, guys, let's just get on with it. So, we actually obviously watched Doctor Who Series 2 when it came out in 2006. One of the first TV shows I've ever watched. It's a massive part of my childhood. But I've recently rewatched it to refresh myself and critically analyse all the episodes.
I remember The first time...
Let me get them in order, actually.
I remember the first time I saw David Tennant in anything, and I'm not... This might be me showing my age a bit. I remember going to see Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire at the cinema, and David Tennant popping up a couple of times as Barty Crouch Jr. throughout the film.
Yes.
And I found him absolutely terrifying. I thought, who the hell is this mad actor? He's brilliant and just visceral. I had no idea that I had a sort of idea that Christopher Eccleston was leaving Doctor Who. I think the plan was always that he was going to do just the 13 episodes. I only caught the occasional episode, but I loved him as the Doctor. When we sat down to watch the Christmas Invasion, and I saw David Tennant appear in Christopher Eccleston's outfit, I remember Mum saying, "Joe, do you recognise him?" And it took me a second. I was like, "Oh my god!" And I remember, even though he was sort of laid out in bed for the whole episode, it was just like the moment. I know you covered it already, Matt, but just quickly for context, or just to provide a sort of personal background anyway. I remember just watching him when he fights the Sycorax leader and thinking, this guy's the Doctor. And I was just very taken with him. And I eventually caught up on Series 1. But I watched most of Series 2 as it went out. I missed The Impossible Planet, but I caught up on it later on when the DVD came out, because Dad and I were out shopping in High Wycombe, where we used to live, and we were delayed because the car was locked and the keys were inside or something like that.
I remember this.
Yeah. It was a weird time. I was 12. I turned 12 a few days
I
after
must
New
have been
Earth
like
went out.
5 or something.
4.
4.
Yeah, man. Don't worry, you are still 4 to me.
Okay.
I'm kidding. But Doctor Who Series 2, what a ride. It starts off happy as Larry, and then you just see it all really catch up with the heroes right up to the end. It just what a whopping great finale.
Oh, it doesn't sort them out for both. Okay, well, that's fine.
It's just, and it's not one that I've revisited as much as Series 3 or 4, or even Series 9 or 10. But Series 2 was what got me hooked on Doctor Who, and in terms of like phase of life, as a preteen, it got me through a really bad phase, like things like changing schools and just I felt a bit lonely at the time, and Doctor Who provided me with a sense of comfort, because Star Trek wasn't on the telly anymore, and most of the shows that I watched growing up had either stopped being made, or
guys better be taking notes.
Grew out of them.
We got the Joe law here, guys. The law. There will be a test at the end.
But I remember, I remember latching onto Doctor Who very quickly when Series 2 came out, and David Tennant really rubbed off on me, irritatingly so, if you ask my family. Sorry, guys.
God, yeah, you ruined it for me, Joe. You ruined Tennant for me. Whenever he does like his pouty face, I'm like, oh my god, it's Joe from 5 years ago, from 10 years ago. I mean, that's what we were all saying. I remember that.
It's all true. I don't know. It's one of those unconscious things where you pick up habits from actors that you watch or people that you hang out with.
Dude, it's fine. I was so annoying as a child. Like, holy shit. Doctor Who rubbed off on me big time as well.
Everyone's annoying as a child.
Yeah, that's just the truth, if I'm being honest. Like, everyone's annoying as a child. I didn't even realise until now. I didn't really have it pointed out to me quite as much. But yeah, I'm trying to get the episodes in order, but gonna worry about that.
And these are all
later.
Series 2 through 4.
This is every Tennant episode, yeah, it's just how it's categorized. We're gonna be reusing this tier list for Series 3, 4, and the specials, guys. I think the specials will just include with Series 4. I'm kind of following the iPlayer pages, and that's how it's done. Time's ticking, we're 20 minutes in, so I think we should probably get started.
Molto bene.
I'll worry about organising this later, but yeah, if we're all good to go, let's start talking Series 2. So that's Joe's background. Interestingly, Ethan said that Series 2 is really high highs and also really low lows. We'll get back to that. I'm joking about the test. But yeah, so Series 2. I'm not going to talk about my judgment of the whole series overall critically, but I tell you what, it's been really interesting to come back and watch it as an adult, because I literally haven't... I watched this a lot, many times over as a kid, so I have a good memory of it, but I also haven't watched it in a very long time. So like I basically haven't watched it since I was like a young teen, so there's a lot of things I don't remember, and it's also like I mean, I'll be honest with you guys, I didn't have a discerning eye at the time. I'm now approaching this critically to try and understand why it's such a good TV show, and really put it to the test of if it's as good as my family indoctrinated me to believe. And it is. it really is. So,
oh, yes.
New Earth. Joe, what do you think of New Earth? Before I show off my notes, what do you think of New Earth? Go to the Joe tier list.
I really enjoyed New Earth when it came out.
So we've got like S rank, A, B, C, D.
I think because one thing about it that actually surprised me was that it was a follow-up to The End of the World, which was the very first Doctor Who episode I watched.
Oh yeah, it was, wasn't it? Because Cassandra and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So things like Cassandra, the Year 5 Billion, whatever it is, the Face of Bo, especially. 'Cause this is sort of the middle part of the Face of Bo trilogy, if you like.
Yes.
It's sort of it's sort of like it's sort of like a backdoor pilot for the Tennant era, in a way, because it's like, you know, the setting, you know, the scene and the characters, they're all established. Straight away in the cold open, you get the Doctor, the TARDIS, Rose, Mickey, Jackie, all the relationships they're established with minimal dialogue and great music.
With Series 1, yeah.
What you get, actually, you know, I think the psychic paper is used really nicely when the Doctor gets summoned to Ward 26, and then it turns out to be the Face of Bo, who has a message for him, which we'll come back to. I don't want to jump the gun a little bit.
Guys, I should mention, if you're watching this, we're going to assume that you've seen this. This show's been out for like 10 years. Like, I don't think a spoiler warning is warranted.
16 years.
If you haven't... 16?
Nearly.
Jesus. If you haven't watched Doctor Who yet, especially series... Well, any of it, really. Do. We're probably going to spoil some of the greatest moments in TV history. Just saying. But, you know... if you haven't seen it before, and maybe sometimes spoilers are a great way to introduce something, because that's what grabs your attention. So whatever, even if you haven't watched this before, feel free to stick around. You might learn something.
Absolutely.
But yeah, Joe, as you were saying, so
as
your
I
review
was saying,
I'm just getting all of these in order. Here we go. The Joe list and the Matt list. Whoa.
The Joe list, yes. Not to be confused with Joseph Schindler, of course. But I like the idea, especially after rewatching it, that it's the Face of Bo, who we saw last year, who summons the Doctor and says, "Hey, I want to talk to you." And as you go, you learn about New Earth and how the human race is repopulated. You get all these cat people there, which is weird and nuts. One of the nurses, it's not Novice Hain, but it's one of the other ones. Yeah. It's the same actress who went on to play... I realised
we got no background music. Let me take that up.
Went on to play Martha Jones' mum, Francine. Oh, what's the actress'
name? Really?
Yeah.
That she was in it?
Joa Anho, yeah.
No way!
Yeah, man. I think she plays the one who gets killed by one of the infected people.
Yeah, I remember that scene.
I think the Cassandra twist is quite nice, and I remember they hid it from the trailers.
Yeah, honestly,
and the build-up.
It's kind of weird. It's just series 1 and 2. So far of what I've watched of the Russell T era, there's a lot that they could have had surprises in their episodes, and they just don't hide at all. So it's interesting to know that actually was like a surprise, because there's a lot of things, which like the Daleks in the series 1 finale, or like the Sidemen, they just... there was like they were completely revealed in like teasers and stuff. So anyway,
yeah,
it's done really well in the episode though. So yeah, Joe, where would you rank New Earth then on the tier list? What do you think?
I think the way that they build up to Cassandra is wonderful. I'm just sort of remembering it in my head.
I'm gonna talk about my notes for a second to remind you all. What did I say about it? You see what I've said here.
The way they do the whole body swap thing.
Yeah.
It's like it could so easily have been done distastefully or border on parody. But it's like Russell T Davies, and this is one of his strengths, I've always thought, he gets the humour just right. And, you know, there's that scene where Cassandra's in Rose's body and she just pulls the Doctor into a kiss. And it's like, you sort of that. It kind of works on one level because on the one hand, you got this growing attraction between the Doctor and Rose, which plays throughout the whole series, like their whole.
That's the main series arc, yeah.
Exactly. But also, Cassandra, she hasn't kissed anyone in a very long time, so the first thing she'd want to do is just get her hands on the first guy that she sees and just,
Okay, Joe, can we get focus here?
Sorry.
You're focusing on like the most random details. Let's just talk about the episode overall. Right?
I like Chip as well.
Yeah.
I think he's an interesting one, and what becomes of him is quite moving.
That's my whole review there, guys.
The social commentary on hospitals and the infected
yes. People. That's aged well, hasn't it?
Yeah. The way they treated like lab rats, I remember the doctor saying. I remember just being really frightened by it, but frightened for the people. And right at the end when he cures them all, and again it makes great use of the showers, the disinfectant. The disinfectant, you'll find out.
Yeah. Great scene.
It's like you get the setup and payoff right there, and it works so well. And right at the end when they're all cured and the doctor hugs one of them, it's just sort of like, oh. It shows that he's a bit more comfortable around people now. We've not seen the Doctor like this before, where he's that approachable. Like in the whole 40-something years.
I only gave it a 7 out of 10. I think that's worth an 8 reading what I put here. Yeah, the thing is, right, the episode's fresh, action-packed. It's got this eerie sci-fi edge that gives it the authentic Who undertone, but it's balanced with just good comedy and pacing and stuff. So, obviously, you got that cold open we talked about, which nicely, has continuity from Series 1. And I think some of the, again, social commentary and world building is really interesting. It doesn't, detract from the plot, which is great, and it actually enhances it. You've got context for, why things are the way they are. There's, this scene early on where we see the cat nurses talking about a theory of, consciousness existing in the clones, which we get, more insight into later, and it's, kind of an investigation of humanity and what makes someone human. Hello?
Hello.
Well, this is a very cosy scene, isn't it?
It's Sam.
Crap.
Why wasn't I invited?
Guys, he's here. Sam's here. There's all 3 of us.
What's going on?
3 of them.
I don't know.
We're doing a Doctor Who Series 2 tier list stream.
Series 2? That's my favourite. I don't even care.
I thought Series 1 was your favourite.
I thought Series 1 was you crack on.
Guys, all 3. Oh my gosh. Well,
I'm going to do my own live stream, and I just won't invite you guys. How about
Alright.
I'll watch it.
Yeah, sure.
Brilliant.
Okay, Sam.
Sam, everybody.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
That was excellent.
That was not planned. I had no idea you were going, but that's great. Anyway, let's get on with this.
Let's crack on.
Pacing is time. So, where would you rank it? Because I'd say
I would say
I give it good.
I would say, just quickly, the whole thing with the face of Bo, it dovetails right at the end, but it leaves you wanting more.
Yeah.
To be continued.
I don't know. The face of Bo wasn't that big a part of the story. It was just kind of a little story out that they were.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was planned or just being made up as it went along.
I'm not sure, but the way it happens and the way it leaves you wanting more.
What did I do last time?
I think it's really nicely done, and the way he speaks to the Doctor when he wakes up, and you do the conversation that the Doctor has with Novice Haim about the face of Bo's longevity. And about this prophecy. It's it feels very Russell T Davies in hindsight.
Life and death.
But it's great. What happens with Cassandra's body swapping with Chip at the end, and how...
Right, Cassandra, man, I love Cassandra's story arc, actually.
The way that she makes peace with herself after everything that's happened in New York and with her life and with the Doctor, it's very moving.
The way it's directed, with the foreshadowing when she's watching projector tapes at the start with Chip, and... how it's because her whole motive is this purity, right? She thinks she's the last pure human.
Yeah, the last human.
And then she has to switch bodies and be in these other impure humans, and it just challenges all these ideas of what makes someone human. It's great.
It is.
My only critique was some of the random bits of humor that didn't really amount to anything in the plot, and things like Cassandra's droids. They were there in the beginning.
Oh yeah,
as a tool for her serum,
I love those little ones,
which was great. But then they just kind of disappeared, which I was a bit disappointed by.
Yeah.
But yeah, the again, it was paced. It was written to make sense to both adults and children. It's multi-layered. It was great. I'm gonna give it a good. I'm gonna say it's a good episode.
I liked the way that the Doctor figures out. Like, he plays detective when he figures out that something's not quite right with Rose, and Doctor, yeah. Then when Cassandra, uses the chloroform spray thing, and he just goes, ugh, and wakes up in the pod.
Yeah.
And then later on, when Cassandra swaps bodies, and you see the way that David Tennant acts in that scene, it's so fucking funny.
So where would you rate it, Joe?
I would have it as, and I've got to say this in the accent, fantastic.
Alright, so that's New Earth. Let's move on now to Tooth and Claw. So this is the next episode. Also, there's an outtake from the Christmas Invasion that explains why 10 says brilliant instead of fantastic. I've never seen that, Ethan. Did you send that to us? I've never seen that. That sounds interesting. It's a triple threat. Yeah, triple threat. So Tooth and Claw. Yeah, Joe, what do you think of Tooth and Claw? What do you remember? I don't know if you rewatched any of this recently.
Tooth and Claw is brilliant.
Have you watched any of this recently?
Not for a while, but I think that kind of helps because it lets me sort of backtrack it a bit more.
Okay.
I remember Tooth and Claw just being really scary. I love werewolves. And I think the idea of them is just frightening, yeah. Especially at Halloween, and I think there's something sort of gothic about them.
Right, it was a kind of gothic episode.
Yeah, exactly.
Got this outtake here if you want to watch it. Sorry to interrupt.
Let's have a look.
So Ethan just sent this in chat. Apparently this is a deleted scene. From this is from the Christmas Invasion, which we ranked in the previous episode. If you want to check that out.
Oh, fantastic. I can't say anymore. Doesn't fit the T.
Oh, that makes sense.
Oh, I know that word. What am I going to say now?
That's clever.
Brilliant. No, excellent.
Well, he does say brilliant quite a lot later on.
Superb.
Brilliant is, yeah.
Yeah, that does become one of his...
Molto bene, or I don't know.
So there's that one.
Very, very good.
No, I always like the way he says brilliant.
That's really...
Especially later on the way he just goes, brilliant! Like that.
I like how this connects to the whole teeth thing. Like, there's just a lot of, like, running gags and stuff in here. Like, they're still not ginger, which just really, like, give it, a unique charm and personality. That's cool. I've never seen that.
It's those small bits of world building.
Doctor, what would you like to drink? Fanta.
Excellent.
Oh, boy.
Tooth and Claw.
Yeah, Tooth and Claw. What do you think of Tooth and Claw?
I think it's excellent. I think that...
we should add an
I'm just
excellent
backtracking it now. I would put it in GOAT.
Have like brilliant, fantastic, excellent. You put it in GOAT.
Tooth
and Claw in the GOAT tier. I mean, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
The way it ties into the whole historic angle is quite nicely done.
Sorry, that's my headphones.
Also, don't at me, but I'm not a royalist, and it's nice to see Russell T Davies apply some sort of critique to them, which he does a few times over the course of his first era.
The social commentary in Series 2 is the same level as Series 1. It's great. Just on like British culture, it's nice.
My favourite scene throughout the whole thing, I want to say very quickly as well, I love the bit at the start, just after the titles, when they're listening to Ian Dury in the TARDIS, and they're on their way to what should be 1979.
Yeah. It's like a running gag again. They like are prepared for one time, then they end up in the wrong one.
Classic Doctor Who.
Like they're ready for like the 60s or 70s or something.
70s. They're going to see.
And then they're like 100 years too early or something.
Yeah.
It's like Back to the Future when the time machine is like the wrong digit in like the century column. So it's like 1885. Yeah.
Exactly.
It's great.
I like the way they use the monks, and I like the way I do feel like they could have used the monks a bit more, and that the head monk, Father Octavian, was killed off a bit too soon.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But visually, I think it's aged very well.
Yes.
The use of mistletoe is done really creatively. The whole back and forth with the Dr. Rose, I bet you're so not amused, madam, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's another running joke in this one.
And the way
I was trying to get her to say it.
The way it sets the trajectory for Series 2, and the arc that carries over, and the way that this episode eventually comes back to bite the Doctor and Rose in the bum, in a way.
This is actually very important to the series arc.
And also, it's one of 2 episodes that does this. The other one we'll be talking about in a second. It also sets up one of Doctor Who's spin-offs. Quite
snap,
nicely.
it did, yeah.
So there's a lot of moving parts in this one.
Yeah.
But I would put it right at the top because of how cohesively well done it is. My favourite scene is when Sir Robert McLeish is telling them all about the house and about the werewolf.
Sir Robert, he's good.
And David Tennant getting to use his natural accent in that.
Yeah, because he's actually Scottish, if you guys don't
Yeah.
know. So when he's speaking with a Scottish accent episode, that's actually him not doing an accent, because he does an English accent for Doctor Who.
Yeah. And the way he just leans over and says, "A werewolf."
Yeah.
Like that. And the way Queen Victoria calls him out on his voice changing. He's
Again.
just sort of like,
Dude.
"Oh."
There's so many things this episode did right. It's like the intrigue and like plot pacing is really great. You've got like every character is utilized effectively, or most of them anyway, and they all have like motivations that make sense. But
Yeah.
Queen Victoria especially, excellent for the Doctor and Rose. What I wrote here, 'cause it's kind of fairly realistic and embedded in history, kind of like Dickens in the
Unquiet Dead.
Unquiet Dead, yeah.
Yeah.
And we actually see her being both diplomatic and also quite commanding. It's,
Yeah.
the pistol scene, if you guys remember that, where she shoots Father Angelo.
Father Angelo.
And the reveal of the diamond, which is part of the, like, solution. It's exposition. And, like, again, the Doctor is usually the one who does the exposition, explaining the sci-fi stuff, but it doesn't intrude on the pacing, which is nice. It's just good writing.
I just remembered the telescope as well.
Yeah.
It's a bit rubbish. Am I being rude?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, something that stood out was the direction and cinematography in this one. Like the camera angle choices, the way, even the CGI of the wolf looked great. It's aged well. The wolf POV shots like add to the like tension of stuff. It's great.
They're so freaky.
Yeah. The only things I criticised were that Isabel McLeish and the maids don't really have enough presence. They're like, I don't know, where they go in the plot is kind of random. It's a bit weird.
They do feel like set dressing at
But
times.
they are critical for one element, which is figuring out that mistletoe is can stop the wolf, which is great, and they save the protagonist's life at one
you
point.
see them in the kitchen at the start.
But the Doctor figures that out anyway, so it's kind of redundant. It's a bit of a shame. And yeah, like you said, the monks just kind of disappear. We don't see what happens to them. It's
They're
good.
badass. Like right at the start when you see them all in
The
their
choreography
red
was
robes,
amazing.
It's like, whoa, this is something else.
And again, they got these unique cinematic shots with like sped up and slowed down and like all kinds of things to make it just really, really dynamic. It was a very good open. Like there's some things which are just kind of left loose, which is I feel like they could have been resolved with just a few seconds.
Yeah.
But other than these small issues, like I just had utter praise for this episode. There's a nice reference to Bad Wolf.
Yeah.
Because the wolf says to Rose something about you stared into the sun, but all I need is the moon, and then he transforms. And then there's obviously the foundation of Torchwood, which is massive. If you guys don't know, Torchwood is basically the SCP foundation of the Doctor Who universe, the Whoniverse. And we see some like pop culture influence in like the happy-go-lucky, charming adventurer side of the Doctor. Like Tennant's getting more into the role. It's great. So I will honestly also give that a go. This is an S tier story. It's really good. If that's everything you want to say about it. We can move on to School Reunion.
Oh, brilliant. Fun fact, this is the very first one that David Tennant ever shot.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, you look at his hair, it's a little bit differently because he shot this, then he did the Christmas Invasion.
Okay.
This one, like with Tooth and Claw, I'm going to put it in GOAT tier. But for very different reasons. Because whereas Tooth and Claw is dark and very macabre and very heavy, School Reunion has emotional stakes, and it's really probably the first time, even though by this point we've already had the Autons, the Daleks, the TARDIS, and a few references to the Time Lords at this point. This is really the first time in the revived show where they say it's still the same Doctor Who.
Yeah.
And that is presented to us. That it takes shape in the form of Sarah Jane Smith, played by the wonderful late great Elizabeth Sladen.
Man, Ethan, your references are on point, dude.
Yeah.
I'd forgotten some of the exact details, but yeah, you just
get-
trying not to fanboy over Elizabeth Sladen.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
she's a
do get
legend.
another Torchwood reference briefly when Mickey, another Smith.
They're like the bad wolf of series
Yeah.
2, I guess. I didn't really count the references.
when he's
though.
trying to look through the school systems or something, when Rose is watching the dinner ladies getting covered in cooking oil.
Oh yeah.
That's not cooking oil.
Cruelty oil,
I think the arc that the Doctor goes on in this one, this is the Doctor's. This is all the
peak
Doctor's
series
chickens
2.
coming home to roost.
Yes.
And stop messing around with my tier.
Alright, fine, I'll mess around with mine.
And
I'm giving this go
it's
to guys.
for me as a new fan at the time. I was like, hold on, this person used to be with like all the old Doctors, and I was really intrigued. And I went away like after watching Sarah Jane Smith and K9, just wanting to know more about them. And I remember Mum filled me in on who Sarah Jane is and was afterwards.
Yeah, same. Like it was. I can't remember when I watched older Doctor Who episodes. Like if it was before or after the first time I saw these. But the one I distinctly remember the most is Genesis of the Daleks, which is a huge fill-in for a lot of things in New Who, and that was that had Sarah Jane.
Yeah.
Classic 70s Who.
Yeah. Russell T
Well, the
Davis
first
has always said,
I
and
watched.
Sarah Jane was in that one, that Genesis of the Daleks was the start of the Time War. Russell T Davis has always said that. And the way that they do the slow burn of the Doctor and Sarah Jane reuniting within the first 10-15 minutes is wonderful.
It's so charming.
And it reminds you that she's an investigator. While she's checking out the school, and Anthony Head is so deliciously creepy as Mr. Finch. And there's a little arc that Rose and Mickey each go on in this one. You know, not just the whole the Misses and the X thing, but also Sarah Jane helps Mickey to self-actualize a bit more.
Absolutely. I'll be right back. Hold on.
Of course.
Just finish your point for a second.
All right. What I think is so good, I'm just sort of filling in here. Half of Tennant's performance in School Reunion is just him trying not to fanboy over Elizabeth Sladen. True player. I'm glad I said that right. I got to agree with you there. I think there's a lot in that. And I remember at the start of Elizabeth Sladen's biography, which came out after she died, David Tennant wrote the foreword for that book, and you do get a very strong sense of that because he grew up watching John Pertwee and Tom Baker as the Doctor and watching Sarah Jane interacting with them as they fought the Daleks, the Cybermen, the Zygons, those giant spiders on Metebolus 3, the giant robot in Tom Baker's first one, and then it all ended with the Hand of Fear. Hello, the Banana Boy, DCC3. I am Mr. Joe. Hello, hello. Hello there. But the emotional stakes that are paid off, because the Krillitanes feel that not supplementary, it's like they establish the threat that it's there, but
What did I miss?
But the emotional stakes and the story between the four of them, the Doctor, Rose, Vicky, Sarah Jane, 5 if you include K9, that's the main focus. And what you get right at the end is just, it's wonderful because Mickey joins the TARDIS after Sarah Jane pushes for, she really goes into bat for him, and you get this really subtle moment, I should say, when Billie Piper just sort of looks away, just sort of like, all right, but she's not happy that he's coming along, and it sets up the next two stories, but this one and of course it sets up the Sarah Jane adventures, which was sadly cut short because of Elizabeth Sladen leaving us. I remember she passed on the day after my 17th birthday, while they were still making Series 5. It was just of Sarah Jane. It was just,
what was
it
that?
was like 2011.
Yeah.
Series 6 of Doctor Who was just about to
I remember
end.
Matt Smith was in Sarah Jane Adventures one time. That was
He
cool.
was. Yeah. But What a wonderful, wonderful woman.
William Coffey, welcome to the stream. Hello, Mr. Joe. Yes, Banana Boy.
We've covered that.
So, did I miss anything? Because I need to go to the toilet real quick, but I'm back now.
I do quite like the scene when the Doctor speaks with Mr. Finch at the swimming pool.
It's one of the best scenes. So good.
Yeah, you think that the way that Mr. Finch composes himself. You know,
he's such a great antagonist.
Yeah.
I wish we saw him again, to be honest, because I
Yeah.
actually really liked him. They could have totally written him off to survive somehow.
Yeah, I think with Anthony Head, because he's one of those very strong actors, and they
Yeah.
used him again later on for the Infinite Quest as
Oh yeah, did they?
Balthazar.
I totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
That's so
Might
long
be
ago.
one to talk about when you do Series 3, mate.
Maybe, yeah. Anyway, but yeah, so if you don't mind, I just want to talk about my notes for a minute.
Of course.
Again, I'm pretty much in agreement with Joe here. I actually thought this episode was perfect. And I don't say this often. I know I'm rate Doctor Who very highly. You guys got to understand that, like, maybe I'm biased, but, like, I am trying to approach this critically and look for flaws. Pacing spot on. Every important element, like, you know, plot device, MacGuffin, this, that, and the other, is introduced at the right moment, right characters. There's no time wasted. It just keeps moving. Every character, you know, serves a purpose. And what I said, there is a rich, multi-layered emotional prerogative throughout the episode. I wrote this all fancy, like, but I'm not going to read it all word for word, because that'd just be boring. But, yeah, obviously, Elizabeth Sladen and Sarah Jane Smith, creme de la creme, she was just marvellous. And her presence alone is part of the series arc in an important way, because obviously they did her justice, which is good. She's actually written consistently, but also there's an impactful message about time and relationships. The Doctor's immortal, but Rose is mortal, so they can't be together forever. It's the absolute best version of what the series was trying to hammer down for the series arc. It's all about Rose and the Doctor's relationship, meeting fate in the end and having to be forced apart. And yeah, the whole dynamic of, I love how these two, they start off a little bit like antagonistically, I guess, because they see each other as rivals, and then they end up like, you know, sisters, and they're just both laughing at the Doctor because they have so much in common with their experiences. That scene is so funny where they're just giggling, and then he walks in and he's like, "What?" and they're just laughing.
There's a bit of a story to it somewhere.
Oh, I know this, but tell it again.
I think I've got this right, where Elizabeth Sladen and Billy Piper, like, David Tennant walked into the room, and I remember the director said just before he came in, imagine that he's got a huge moustache or something like that.
Yeah, no, I think he actually wore like a big moustache or something. Ethan, remind me, did they just say imagine, or did he actually have something on his face?
Yeah, because you see, it's infectious the way they laugh. It's all genuine as well.
Yeah, they genuinely got him to laugh, is what I'm saying. It's not just acting, it's forced, which is brilliant.
Just as another thing, I think the kids as well are really good in it. Like the lad who plays Kenny, the way, you know,
yes,
elbows
Kenny,
the fire alarm.
I mentioned Kenny down here. He's the absolute Giga Chad.
Melissa probably get the most to do out of all the kids in this one.
Kenny is an absolute Giga Chad. He's such a Sigma, honestly. His scenes with Mickey are brilliant. We are in a car. Remember that?
Oh yeah.
What's he doing, guys?
Yeah.
What's Joe doing?
I'm telling them I don't know what these phrases mean, like Sigma Chads and.
Look it up. Just look it up.
You know.
It's a compliment.
Insert hashtag here.
Guys,
keep it real.
Explain it to him in chat. I don't know what to say. Yeah, but yeah, things like something which the best episodes do is kind of thread different plot threads here, like A and B, maybe even C-side plots with the different characters going their own journeys and then reuniting in the like physical space. But yeah, Mr. Finch, amazing antagonist, just really strong actor, and
Anthony Head.
Because I love how he's just an excellent kind of villain. He's got this very calm, collected, authoritative exterior, and then yeah, as you said at the end, he's just screeching because it's kind of revealing that inner monster. You know,
he's very softly spoken. He's just dripping with charisma.
Yeah,
the time has come, my brothers.
Yeah, and he's actually like not just a genuine threat, but also genuinely challenges the Doctor. I just want to see.
Yeah,
that's about the humour.
They have a clash of ideologies, don't they?
Exactly. I don't know if I mentioned it, but basically, like the Doctor is almost tempted by to join him because he actually doesn't want to fight the Doctor. He's trying to like lure him onto his side because they're basically hacking the universe. They're trying to find this code. If you guys don't watch the episode, they're trying to basically get the cheat code for the universe.
Yeah.
And yeah, and the Doctor's almost tempted, but Rose and Sarah Jane are there for him, which is great. And even the CGI is fantastic. I've heard people say the Krillitanes look crap, but I actually think most of the CGI from Series 2 aged really well. And the Krillitanes always looked very real to me. Like, I know they're computer generated, but I actually always thought they were very clever in melding them into their environment as well, because they do a lot of the transformations off camera with like camera angles and stuff, which is clever, but it's not obviously low budget because they do actually show the transformations on camera as well. They just mix it up with both so it doesn't get repetitive. It's genius.
I think on the one hand,
really good direction.
I think on the one hand it saves a lot on the budget, but also after the last episode with the werewolf, we don't need to see these grotesque transformations all the time, and I like the way that it happens on off screen or behind closed doors.
It's just creative. Yeah, the scene at the start where Finch eats that like poor girl who's outside the office, and you just see a silhouette through like the blurred like door window. It's great with the screens. Yeah. And I was going to mention specifically the technical stuff in addition to just the writing. We already talked about this. The scoring. There's this excellent motif when Sarah Jane sees the TARDIS. And it's kind of reveal. It's got like the I think it's the 10th Doctor's theme or something. I don't remember.
Yeah, I remember. There's a very similar from a few years before this came out. There's a very similar motif that's heard in The Simpsons somewhere in the episode with Mark Hamill, where you see comic book guy. He gets talking to this beautiful woman. Like in fact, they're talking about. I can't remember. I think it's something to do with. It's something to do with Spider-Man comic books and different editions, that kind of thing. And the music that plays that is very similar to that cue, which is heard first when Sarah Jane sees the TARDIS, but then later on when you get the fade to black. When he just
and it's also like synthy, so it gives you that 70s vibe, because the old Who soundtrack was totally different to what Murray Gold was doing in this era. But yeah, like I think we've talked about everything. But yeah, like basically this episode did nothing wrong.
Yeah. Like
K9's role in the plot as well, which we didn't really talk about in detail. I just I love how they did it, and like the sci-fi bullshit is totally justified. Like it makes sense. It's not just Deus Ex Machina. So yeah, School Reunion is the absolute go. So ready to move on. Look at the girl in the fireplace, just reading chat. Joe does not know what a Sigma is, apparently. Yeah.
I know of Ood Sigma.
Yeah, man, that's gonna be funny when we get there. Pretty sure Sigma has similar connotations to legendary / superior, something along those lines, but even I don't know. Maybe that's spot on, yeah.
So we're about a third of the way through.
Ethan,
the girl in the fireplace.
Right, let's talk about this. What do you think, Joe?
I'm not sure yet. I'm just sort of backtracking. This was the first.
I can refresh you.
This was the first episode written by Stephen Moffat that I remember watching.
Oh, was it? Yeah. Okay.
I do have a little bit of a soft spot for it, and they do Moffat revisits it later on.
I just realised my microphone's kind of far away, guys. Does this sound better, or is there no difference? Because it's not supposed to be in the corner all the way over there. Just realised.
Hold on. There's just one thing I want to do.
No, Joe.
Baba boy, Baba boy, Baba boy, Baba boy, Baba boy, Baba boy.
I am sorry, but I mean, to be fair, I've done worse. I've done worse.
So I had to.
Joe likes to do just a little trolling, guys. Just a little smidge. There we go. Troll face. Someone caption this out of context. Just us both doing the troll face. That'd be great.
Where were we at? The girl in the fireplace.
Girl in the fireplace.
I do have a soft spot for this one. So I've given myself the giggles. I do have a soft spot for this one, and I think the whole story between the Doctor and Renette, I find it quite moving, and you do see how it inspires Moffat's later work, even if it's not executed nearly as well as it is here.
Yeah, I didn't realise, but actually,
what you get things that pay off during the Moffat era, even in Series 8. I think when you look at the Madame de Pompadour.
Oh my god,
ship,
yeah.
And the way it plays with time and the way it plays with the emotional stakes again is brilliant. But also, it's kind of grotesque as well, like the way that they use body parts to, keep the ship.
It's excellent sci-fi once again.
It's wonderful.
Livy is scolding us in chat for shouting into the mic. Oh dear.
Sorry, Livy.
Nah, she's just having a laugh.
I do think that
This is my review.
It ends on an appropriately bleak note.
It does, yeah.
After-
It's kind of bleak, this episode.
After Annette passes on. But I think the Clockwork Droids are a very scary threat, and the way that you look at them, it's like those masks they wear, they're chilling to look
They're
at.
actually very scary.
And
Like
they're
they were
era-appropriate.
nightmare fuel as a kid. Even then, like they literally jump scare guys. They're like something out of Five Nights at Freddy's. I'm not even joking.
Yeah.
Let me just show you, for all you FNAF fans who don't know what the Clockwork Droids are from Doctor Who.
Yeah. I think there's a thing about masks. Anyway, and the first thing that actually comes to mind is
Here it is.
The Green Goblin in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man films.
So this is what they look like. They wear all these like colourful masks because it's a disguise because they're in like Renaissance France,
Yeah.
right? So they got these colourful exterior.
It's
Let's
like
just machine underneath.
it's like
It's all clockwork.
it's like the Scream mask or
Series 8
Leatherface in Texas Chainsaw. It's that kind of thing, or it's very much inspired by that kind of classic 70s
Yeah,
horror cinema.
absolutely, yeah.
And it's like
They-
you see them.
I love the way these were designed, especially the mask and the way that it looks like authentic with the
it's the
costume.
creepy smiles coupled with the colours and the wigs.
Joe, where would you rank this?
I
just got
think
one of these.
I would. I love the horse as well. The comedy.
Oh
that
yeah,
comes with
Arthur the horse guys.
Yeah. Oh, what's
You're
the horse
right,
doing on a
boy.
spaceship? Mickey, what's pre-revolutionary France doing on a spaceship? Get some perspective.
I love that Mickey focuses on like the least like
I'm-
amazing. He's like even French when it's about
I'm
the TARDIS
gonna-
translating any language.
I'm gonna put this one down as fantastic.
Yeah.
I don't think it's perfect, but I think.
I agree.
But I do. I think, again, the way it feels like it's written for the actors, and it's the way that David Tennant carries himself through this episode in particular. This is the first time you really see the somber. This is the first time you see the 10th Doctor's more somber side.
Right, we're exploring the different dimensions of his character. It's like we're
Exactly.
focusing on like the nostalgia here.
Yeah.
Tooth and Claw was like
It's
really
like
action
you get to see
adventure.
him as
This is the dark side. You
This
know?
revisits what you see in the
Ugh.
Christmas Invasion, where you see him as the swashbuckling romantic hero. It does revisit that.
He is
But
a
it
very
adds
romantic
this-
hero. There's
it adds this
a fairy tale about it, you
Yeah,
know, like Moffat
it adds
style.
this other layer to it that's very, very somber.
Absolutely.
I do need to watch it again, but I do have a soft
I
spot.
can
for
fill you
it.
on some details. I don't rate it super highly, but it is a good episode. I just want to say, I didn't realise the Doctor is pretending to be drunk in that one scene. I thought he actually was drunk.
when he's singing Sinatra.
That makes way more sense, because here's what I wrote. So, I said that this story is honestly slow-paced and a bit underwhelming, because the stakes don't feel that high. I mean, it's relative. But, although, I said a lot of exposition, feels like it's lacking the Doctor Who magic, the story is critical in demonstrating and foreshadowing the problematic relationship Rose has with the Doctor. And it's, again, really nicely tying into that theme of their dynamic. Because that's like the series arc. And I feel like it only partially worked. Why am these headphones? So we're using Tasha's headphone splitter. It's a little
Janky.
janky. Yeah, it's
Sorry,
kind of.
Tash. We love you.
It's okay.
Hey, there we
It
go.
just skipped a song. I'm just gonna go back. It just disconnects a little bit, guys. Sorry about that. But anyway, but I did say the episode of decent direction, cinematography, CGI, scoring. It's got this unique motif that uses a music box because that's what's in Renette's room when she's a child, and it's like gives it that historical angle. It's a very unique. Like only this episode has a unique score, so it immediately stands out. But what sets it apart from the average Who episode is Madame de Pompadour. Because it's all about this historical figure who was real. And again, it's like with Queen Victoria or Charles Dickens, a nice little historical Who episode. And their dynamic. Rose and Mickey aren't like totally sidelined though. They serve their part in the plot nicely. And again, it's got all those guys that we mentioned. Arthur, the horse. By the way, guys, Arthur, what a coincidence considering Red Dead Redemption 2. It's all about a funny horse riding game. Always bring a banana to a party. And callbacks to the Doctor dances, actually. I can't remember specifically, but there's some kind of callback. It's like a phrase or something, I don't remember. But yeah, and again, there's like it's almost like poetry, it rhymes. It's like poetry, it rhymes. A door once opened, my lonely angel. There are like these phrases that are repeated as time progresses, because there's, again, the time these portals in the time moves differently on each side. A few minutes for the Doctor is like years for Annette. So it jumps across her entire life from childhood to her death.
Yeah.
And beyond. And it's this beautiful tragedy that plays with time travel, and it's very authentically Who. And again, there's this underlying, message of the problem of like time.
I think,
which is alluding to Rose in the future.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think the humour's really good in it as well.
Yeah.
I've always thought that humour is one of Stephen Moffat's strong points when he gets it right. His background is in TV sitcom. I met Moffat about 5 years ago. At the end of
you did. There's a photo and everything.
Yeah. I met Stephen Moffat at the BFI at the end of their John Hurt season. They screened The Day of the Doctor. I remember being a bit shy, but my God, whenever he spoke, it was like he's very funny. It's like he would tell 10 jokes in a minute, and like we were all just laughing.
Something which I've actually been thinking about. I haven't watched this show in years, but I recently was listening to the soundtrack again by random chance on Spotify. Sherlock. If you think about the style of humor in that show, it's like pretty similar to series 5, 6, and 7 of Doctor Who. Like you can tell it's Moffat and Gatiss. It's that duo.
Yeah. They were all made around.
They have a pretty distinct style, and like those were both popular. There was a lot of shared fandom at the time.
Yeah.
I feel like Sherlock
was the thing,
fell off big time, but honestly, it was cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think this has some amazing strengths, but like it has a lot of weaknesses that plague it. So I'm gonna give it good. Like there are elements of it that are fantastic, and there's elements that are like okay, in my opinion. It's not bad, but like it's again, basically the first half was kind of dull, and there's just a lot of little things which could have improved, I think. But if that's everything, it's time to move on to the first two-parter of the series.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, and before we move on, Ethan's quoting everything in chat. That's I'd forgotten about this. You're the best. You know why? Because you're so thick. You're Mr. Thickface from Thicktown in Thickania, and so's your dad. It's one of the funniest lines. It's such a random thing, but I remember that just being like a meme that stuck with us for ages. It's just the little details like that really enhance the Doctor's charisma, and Tennant really carried that nicely.
He did.
I have a plan, Arthur. We need to travel back in time to 18th century France. We're gonna turn you into a horse, Arthur. Oh man, that'd be weird. Anyway, Joe.
Your mother smells of elderberries. Sorry, I'm just catching up.
Oh, that's Monty Python, isn't it?
Yeah.
I thought I'd heard that before somewhere.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just catching up on.
Anyway, Rise of the Cybermen, Joe. It's rising time. It's Cyber time.
It's Cyber's time.
So something to keep in mind is that obviously this is a two-parter, so ranking the episodes individually isn't the same as ranking the overall story, but we can do both.
I think Rise of the Cybermen. I want to go on just quickly. I may be jumping the gun a little bit here, but I just want to say straight away that I think all the two-part episodes here are brilliant.
Agreed. We'll get into it.
Rise of the Cybermen, I would put down as good. Because I don't think it's entirely fair to judge the first or second part of a two-part episode on its own. But I think with this one, it's very much setting up what is to come.
Obviously.
And what you get all these little breadcrumbs dropped. And I think what's interesting about the setting for this one, parallel world, gingerbread house, is that it takes the same stakes that the girl in the fireplace had, but it takes them sideways in a way. It's like the stakes move across because instead of time moving, they moved space.
It's like they're going sideways,
Exactly,
it's a brilliant
I think
concept.
Again, it all comes back to the characters and the personal journeys they go on. Rose and Mickey in particular here. And what's great about the Doctor is that you remember that he is this wandering traveller. And that his companions all keep him grounded, but there's a really clever spin on that here, where it sort of works the other way around, where he's the one who's saying to them,
he's having to ground Rose especially.
Yeah, because
so the scene of Rose and Mickey walking away, and Mickey's like, "You can only go with one of us, and we both know you're going to go follow Rose."
Exactly. I did rewatch this one a few months ago. And again, what you get with Pete Tyler and what you get with Mickey's gran and with Ricky Smith and
Rookie.
the preachers.
Yeah.
I always thought that was a really fun spin. I think in terms of the villains,
John Lumick. Remember him?
John Lumick. There's a nice little Goblet of Fire reunion with David Tennant here.
Yeah, of course. I forgot he was in that.
Screen time together this time around.
It's a real shame, actually. We'll get onto that.
Yeah.
The thing is, when it comes to ranking a two-parter, the way I see it, you just got to remember the specific intention and purpose of each parter.
Yeah.
So I'm ranking this by setup and introduction, but I'm ranking this more by payoff and action.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think two-parters were just done really well in general in this era of Doctor Who. One of my favourite episodes from last time was the Slovene two-parter from Series 1.
Yeah.
So, that is all three of these are amazing.
One thing that the parallel world has that I wish we had in this country, just on a side note, they have a president of Great Britain. I really wish we had that instead.
What, instead of a prime minister? I'm going to be honest, I don't know what the difference is.
Well, I think the prime minister is like... Think about, like, we have a monarchy in this country. Like, second only to the king or queen, the king now. The prime minister is the head of state.
I think I've looked
Whereas
this
the
up before.
This is why they don't have a monarchy in America.
America. Fuck yeah.
Exactly. Whereas the
Oh,
president
Britannica.
is
This is a
both
reliable
head of
source.
state and I don't know my political terms, but the idea of there being a president of Great Britain, I think, is a really nice spin, and it's not just in the case of Doctor Who, but storytelling wise, I think it's such a great idea to have. You know, it's Doctor Who's way of saying you could have these ideas too. It doesn't have to be like this. And you know, what if it was a bit? There's a lot of what ifs in this one. In Rise of the Cybermen that are presented, like Rose the dog being another one.
Oh yeah, that was great.
Again, it's really nicely done, and getting to see a less tolerant and really spiteful, bitchy version of Jackie Tyler.
Yeah,
It's
again,
totally lacking in
interesting.
the warmth and empathy that our Jackie has.
Oh yeah, I need to get into actually because that's a really great example. Hold on, I'm just trying to understand the actual difference between president and prime minister here. So prime ministers exist in constitutional monarchy, which is what I believe the UK technically has. Parliamentary republic, which I think France has. Semi-presidential, I'm not so sure, but I don't actually. Okay, so they're elected differently apparently.
This would be a good one for Debate Direct.
Yeah, this would be. I'm not going to get too deep into it now, but you guys can see here. So they're elected differently. The exact powers they have are different. We still have like a king or queen in a ceremonial role. Governing coalition. Let's come back to this another time, but yeah. Rise of Cybermen, Age of Steel. So what I said, I had a lot to say about this, so I'll try and run through it. I was just scrolling down to Doomsday because that was where I said something about parts 1 and part 2 having different like aims. Let me just get back up here though. School reunion, girl in the fireplace. Here we go. So, oh my god, I had a lot to say about this one. What rank did I give it? I gave it a 10 out of 10. I thought this was actually spot on because the premise was like unique, and it's another example of a sci-fi concept being explained really well. I remember as a kid, this was how I learned about the idea of parallel worlds. It was through Doctor Who, and it's explained even better in Army of Ghosts. But yeah, the way everything's introduced, all the plot threads and the time spent is paced really nicely. You got the preachers, even the president. The stakes are also high. The silence and void of the TARDIS without the power is super eerie because it's usually like a safe place, right? It's a sanctuary. But that like is like that's like high stakes. We see Rose facing the temptation of seeing her dad again, and like the whole theme of family being brought back from Series 1, which is really good. And Mickey, finally, if I'm being really honest with you guys, up until this point, Mickey isn't really that good of a character. He's had basically no character development. This is where we finally get something since, I want to say Boomtown, that actually furthers him, like, more than ever.
I think that's a deliberate writing choice, though.
Yeah, I disagree with it, but maybe. What I said, for the first time since World War III, he no longer feels redundant. I'm the Tin Dog. Again, it was commented on before, but it was, like, deliberately ignored, and, you know, that's fine. You know, and like, it does seem intentional. But yeah, we're introduced to his gran who died in, like with, Pete Tyler died in his universe, and he has a really emotional moment with that. There's the plot twist of Ricky with the preachers, which is great, and like seeing himself in this other world. He's not just a Rose simp who's just following her everywhere, which is great. And it's like it was built up to slowly, subtly, but this is like a major shift in his character. He's not quite as naive and experienced anymore. Yeah. And I love how Noel Clarke managed to perform as Ricky as well, and like just with his facial expression made them distinct. Like you can immediately tell who was who, because Ricky had this scowl, whereas Mickey was like all, No
offense, sweetheart, but who the hell are you? What we're doing here?
Yeah. What am I doing?
What we're doing there?
It's great, isn't it? And then they just point the guns at me. He's like. It's such, again, just the way they got the Ricky and Mickey on screen at the same time was just, nicely edited. I love that. The practical effects as well as the CGI, really nicely done.
Exactly. They weren't taking the Ricky.
Again, every character was utilized well. Rose is, challenged with this temptation, the gingerbread house of seeing her dad. And I love that, one of Jackie's main traits, right, is that she's this, just worn out, working class mum. So we see what happens to her when she actually does get everything she wants, and she is actually like wealthy and has the world at her fingertips thanks to Pete's business success, and she's just the same, if not worse. Her worst traits are actually highlighted, which is a nice little social commentary on, I guess, greed and human nature. That's funny, that's the title of a Series 3 episode. Man, I'm so looking forward to Series 3. But and there's a strange wholesomeness to it, because Rose talks to both of them, and to them, she's a stranger, but they both have this feeling, especially Pete. They just feel comfortable around her, which is interesting.
See, I think there's one other thing worth highlighting here.
Yeah.
Because people don't change, but if the scenario changes, then different characteristics are amplified.
Yeah.
Because what you see with the Doctor and Rose and Mickey is they're all used to their Jackie being very abrasive, very highly strung, whereas here that's kind of flipped on its head, and she's a lot more standoffish, she's a lot more authoritarian in her nature.
And it's really tragic as well, because Rose faces the consequences of her temptation when she just gets absolutely scolded by Jackie, and she walks off because it's not her mum, it's not her daughter, they're from parallel universes. It's
sad, but it's a really powerful lesson to learn. Sorry, just
also Jackie lying about her age. That was a nice
39th.
Yeah. It's like everyone knows she's actually 40, but
Exactly.
And the nice thing is that this doesn't suffer from what I call Iron Man 2 syndrome, because that's the best example I can think of a story where there isn't one central thing that connects everything coherently.
Yeah.
I think, I'm not a writer, but when building a story, it's nice to have one thing in common with everything, so there's something that centers the story. And in this case, it's Lumic, because there's all these separate things happening. Rose has gone off to the Tyler's house, the Doctor is... Mickey's with the preachers, and I can't remember what the Doctor was doing. He was
with Rose.
Oh yeah, he follows Rose, doesn't he? It changes out, but everything connects back to Lumic, to the blimps, to the earpods. Everything connects back to John Lumic. Now, what did I write here? Like, I thought the way the Doctor investigates it is nice. It's greatly paced for a part one. The social commentary and sci-fi, like earpieces controlling people and the kind of feed of information. It's like the long game, but better.
The slow burn reveal of the Cybermen.
The way the Cybermen are teased are great, even though they're spoiled in the title.
What happens if I refuse?
Right. I wish the titles were the other way around, because I feel like it would make sense still, and it wouldn't spoil their return quite as much. But it's like, for the people who don't know, it's still an amazing reveal. But for people who know, it's like, well, now they've told us. But yeah. But yeah, we see a bit of like the politics. The president rejects Lumic's mad science on ethical grounds, and Pete's trying to be upbeat and cheerful. He's like, we can always try Germany. He's great. And he's
this is the homeland.
Oh god, yeah. Now, John Lumic, honestly, I'm just going through this. I'm sorry, it's just more organized this way.
Roger Lloyd Pack, what an actor he was.
He's a great actor. The Cybermen are teased okay. It's a sublime reveal, especially if you don't know. It's like very nicely, gradually done.
I do quite like.
Well, actually, let's talk about this.
I do really like the scene where Jake has the handheld camcorder.
Yes, because
and he's still and he says them don't fall for it. when Mr. Crane.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Mr. Crane. Dude.
Good old Cockney Mr. Crane.
I love that Lumic has like this Cockney like second in command, I guess, Mr. Crane. And Jake is great. We're introduced to him, and he's kind of like this freedom fighter who's, you know, trying to expose the truth on cyber. So we see these homeless people be rounded up to be turned into Cybermen, basically. It's this whole like conspiracy thing. But the reveal of the Cybermen, it's him again with, the preachers at the end when they're marching on the Tierlist house. Like we get, you know, we see the Cybermen like blurred through the window. We see their feet. We hear the march. We see the characters see them before us. So we have this brilliant dynamic of the characters knowing something the audience doesn't. Yes. And I wish Doctor Who used this more often because it's such an effective storytelling technique, and it really builds up intrigue in an effective way. It's like we see their reaction, but we don't see what they're reacting to, which makes us really curious.
Exactly.
And then, like, you literally, the first cyber face, it fades in, you know, unblurring from the Doctor's perspective. It's just beautiful.
It is really done. And the cliffhanger is very strong.
And the sound of their pneumatic metallic footsteps is just absolutely iconic.
Pneumatic, good word.
It's got the kind of like the Weezer and then the, you know. Yeah, exactly. And you got the foreshadowing of what they actually are from the very beginning. If you pay attention, you can see the reference to the idea of a human brain in a suit in the Lumic scenes. And yeah, it's just really nicely teased. I thought the only flaws I found in this episode was that I think John Lumic's characterization was a bit two-dimensional and he could have been developed more. I think the actor did a fantastic job, but it feels like he's kind of just mad for the sake of it. And he's got the, you know, I'm dying, I want to live forever, you know, motive. But quite frankly, he's a bit of a William Afton, which is not good.
William Afton.
And also, like, the, you know, insane, but I just thought there was a bit of clunky dialogue in that scene, but everything else was really good. So maybe 9 out of 10, but, like, it's close enough. I'd still give it S tier. It's got that Doctor Who magic.
Absolutely.
So let's move on now to the Age of Steel.
I am its creator.
Yeah, Joe, what do you think of the Age of Steel?
I love it. I think I'd put it at fantastic.
Fantastic. All right.
Because what you get is you get a proper tour de force of the Cybermen. Lumic and the Cybermen are in control, and the stakes are so high. And like even for a parallel world, it's like the Doctor and his companions now with the preachers and Pete Tyler. They feel duty bound to save London.
Yeah. It's quite a dark story as well. It literally happens at night. And I got to say, Ethan, about in chat, about how the Cybermen are more terrifying than the Daleks because of the conversion.
That's one of my favourite things about it, that 95% of it takes place at night.
And it's like the Cybermen
TV like that.
Yeah, it's like the Cybermen are actually us. They're people, and they're just like stripped of humanity. That's more eerie than just being exterminated.
I don't have as much to say about this one.
Fair enough.
I think it's incredible.
It's a lot the same.
Like the way the narrative strands across both parts
of
the story come together, and the ultimate payoff for John Lumic, and the way that the Doctor banters with him.
Oh yeah.
You know, delete, control, hash, all that is just excellent.
I love that the idea of a parallel universe is employed in effect here, because what this allowed the writers to do is to just wreak havoc and break history in like the familiar just Earth world without like, you know, messing up canon. Because it's like, oh well, it's a parallel version, so we can make anything happen, and you know, have like these worldwide events that change everything without breaking up the consequences for future episodes of like, you know, our Earth. And it's like a familiar setting. It's really good.
I do think.
But yeah, the cliffhanger was great, and like the solution to that was quite clever. I think that was good.
I was left for a while, for a few weeks until about a month and a half later, feeling a bit confused about whether it was Mickey or Ricky that made it out.
Yes.
I thought that was excellently played.
That was nicely done.
And seeing him and Jake tag team. Is just
it's so good.
And the ultimate payoffs that you get at the end when Rose calls Pete Dad and when Mickey decides to stay behind, because he has a purpose. You know, it's like I saw a similar thing happen in another TV show recently, where you get characters who say goodbye to each other and you don't know how long it's going to be till you see that character again, or if you do.
Yeah.
And the way it's played straight, with the Doctor's little. Like he shakes hands with Mickey and then he gives him a little affectionate slap in the face and calls him Mickey the idiot one more time. I thought it was really cool.
It's great.
I've just noticed your paragraph here about Mrs. Moore.
I want to focus on Ricky and Mickey before we continue, because these guys, it's brilliant, because Ricky, he dies pretty much at the start of this, and it's charming and bittersweet, because they finally synchronize and get on, and like they're like, you know, speaking and singing. It's great. Their revelation that they're actually not so different, because, you know, Ricky is also not as tough as he actually looks. He's London's most wanted for parking tickets. I just thought it was such a funny reveal, because it's made out that he's London's most wanted. He's this absolute gangster who's probably killed loads of people, but he's actually just a bit of a rebel. And then Ricky dies, and obviously the Doctor knows a relief, but Jake feels like very bitter about it, because it's like, you know, Mickey. It's like Mickey could have saved Ricky, and he feels very like spiteful about it. And they slowly, you know, bond more. Because even though Mickey's different, like, they have like a common goal and everything, and it's just beautiful. I think it could have been better paced and demonstrated. It feels a bit sudden, but like, it's good. It's really wholesome.
It's really effective.
Mickey's progression as a character is just brilliant. He's brave, creative, efficient. He defeats a Cyberman in the bridge.
Yeah.
Like, and he's like on Rose's level in terms of intelligence at this point, because he doesn't hesitate,
Binary
and you know, he's clever, and he also gets the binary 9. He frees.
Yeah.
It's Mickey who frees all the unconverted humans. It's.
Yeah.
Oh, the music's breaking against the bloody headphones.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
I think.
But yeah.
I always love that moment just after Ricky dies.
Again, this
You
is.
see the Cybermen staring Mickey down, just sort of, and he just legs it away. I think it's so
Right.
good.
Oh yeah, I took a screenshot of this. Let me just show you. I'm also going to try and fix the music. If I just unplug that and then just plug it back in completely, because I think it is the headphone splitter that's causing the problem. I can't hear anything. Can you hear anything?
No.
I don't know what's going on with the audio.
I'll tell you what, if I
just unplug and replug everything out. Yeah.
There we go.
Why can I hear the Bluetooth?
That's me.
Oh. Does it have to be on for the auxiliary as well?
I don't know. I just thought.
Sorry, guys, having some audio issues. Let me just restart Spotify.
Yeah. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsor.
It's working now. Anyway, yeah, I actually took a screenshot of this because you guys will appreciate this. It's a meme. Hold on. Because this is actually a really dark scene when it happens. Like, it's quite emotionally impactful because they're climbing over the fence. It's really close, really tense. The music's kicking off. Mickey makes it over this, like, fence, and Ricky doesn't. He's almost there. And then the Cybermen catch him by the leg. It's really sad. Where is it? I have it saved here somewhere. I should have named it. Oh, boy. Hold on.
Oh, yeah, I hear the music now.
Yeah, here it is. Here it is. This is it. And then after Ricky dies, he just collapses to the ground. And then Mickey sees this. This is Mickey's perspective. He just sees them silent, completely still, just standing on the other side of the fence in shadow there. It's really eerie.
Yeah.
But also, it kind of reminds me of the Berserk skeleton meme.
What?
Hold on.
I think I know what this one is.
Guys, let me just actually pause the music. If you guys know this meme, the skeletons from Berserk, it's an anime. Do you guys remember this meme?
That is freaky.
But you could literally just have Cybermen. Let me full screen that. Because they're all just completely deadpan as well. Yeah. And it's like a similar angle.
You wonder that maybe they're speaking with each other through ESP, or one of them's hungry, or they're just sort of like, maybe they're just making fun of
POV. Your brother said something
maybe
cringe
they're
on the
taking
stream.
Mickey out of him.
No, this is us when Joe made that awful pun. Bro. You got the whole squad laughing.
Yeah.
Anyway, it just made me think of the Berserk skeleton meme. And I love that you can transpose this old stuff into the new.
The payoffs are all really, really well done.
Yeah, let's talk about Mrs. Moore. Angela Price is her real name. I love that she just gets a nice sequence with the Doctor, which is not just got some action, but it builds up her character. We actually get some in-depth backstory and understand her motives more. And the fact that her death is just so sudden and out of nowhere really highlights just the threat of the Cybermen and the realism of the conflict. Not everyone survives. Yeah. It's really sad.
He even says you didn't have to kill her.
Yeah, it's really, especially since it's immediately after we've had a more in-depth examination of what the emotional inhibitor is, and they like made that discovery, which is again an important plot device. It's nicely all threaded into each other and connected.
Yeah.
Again, like the scale of the thing is made clear from dialogue. It's not really shown as much, but we do see a lot of Cybermen. And when Pete and Rose go undercover, like with the earpieces walking in, and find out that Jackie's been converted, it's really sad. Another thing I want to point out is that I'm disappointed that the Doctor never gets to meet John Lumic until he's after he's converted. But I love that Mr. Crane forwarded the plot by forcing that to happen, because although he loyally ultimately betrays Lumic, which is interesting, but he dies for it, and that's just that.
Yeah, I loved the climax on the blimp.
Yeah.
Which I just...
Again, we get a nice doctory speech here about how, like, the conversion to Cybermen is futile, because then there's no progress, no creativity, it's nothing! I can't remember exactly what he says, but it's great.
Yeah. That's the gist of it, though.
I did say that, I'll be honest, I have no idea why the building starts exploding at the end. It seems contrived for thrills, but the final chase in the ladder and Pete using the sonic screwdriver, that was awesome.
I think maybe it's because the factory's...
It's not explained, like it just starts exploding, there's no reason. It's just completely contrived. But I'm sure, I guess it doesn't really need to be explained, but yeah, and then the resolution, everything is great. Rose reveals that she's Pete's daughter from another universe, and he just freaks out.
Yeah.
And she's sad. And again, that's kind of the consequences of, traveling the universe. And Mickey decides to stay, which is awesome. That's kind of like, spoilers for, I'm not going to say, but the latest Bad Batch episode. It's like that.
Yeah.
No spoilers, but it's like, it's a really nice, unique character shift that gives someone who's just kind of been redundant a strong purpose.
Exactly, yeah.
That is in line with his,
Yeah, you might say the Bad Batch echoed what Doctor Who did.
Yeah. Anyway, so, but yeah, it's quite a heartfelt goodbye. It's nice. Okay, my headphones... No, that was yours. I'm just hearing it in the desk. That's weird. Okay, let's put the music back on. What we're in. Bloody music issues.
Yeah, I can...
Anyway,
I can hear it again.
I know I'm spending a long time on this story, but this is one of my favorites. It's like the mid-season finale, and it's really important for later, so...
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just mentioning everything. Basically, I like this and that, but the critiques were, Lumic's motive was kind of unclear. Random explosions. What was Pete going to do once they had found Jackie? I'm unclear what the plan was once they were in there, because it's fantastic they didn't get converted. They were very lucky,
I said... Alright.
And Jake just kind of turned around with, his development. It was a bit sudden. But yeah, honestly, I thought this was solid. I'm actually going to rank Age of Steel slightly below Rise of the Cybermen. I think it's good, but I think it's got a bit more flaws. I might give that 8 out of 10 and 9 out of 10 rather than 10 9. I don't know. I feel like I was quite generous, but it's a solid story. It's a great introduction to the Cybermen, and it nails the Cybermen.
Oh yeah.
In a very unique way, because they could have just taken the Cybermen from this universe. They weren't wiped out or anything. They're out there, but for some reason they went with the whole parallel universe thing, which I'm glad they did because it was very original. So, if we're all ready to move on, we can do the Idiot's Lantern. We'll go through some of these more quickly, guys, I promise.
Yeah. And now on to the Idiot's Lantern.
Alright, Joe, you can start, as always.
I remember with this one, you are never going to top the story that just came after. I think it's always such a difficult thing when you have something or someone that's come before that's so brilliant, and then after it, you have to come up with what comes next. I think the Idiot's Lantern is to The Age of Steel what Peter Davison is to Tom Baker. So it's very different. It's not everyone's cup of tea, but it's a bit lighter in tone. It's not as heavy.
Ooh. Yeah, actually, I remember what I did for this review. Also, sorry to interrupt, but I just want to respond to chat. Banana Boy says, I'm slowly being convinced that Doctor Who is actually a horror series. So here's the thing. Doctor Who, especially this era of Doctor Who, is just genius because it kind of defies being bound by genre. It's primarily science fiction and adventure. It's a family-friendly show, so it does deal with darker themes, so does My Little Pony, but in a way that's suitable for pretty much all ages. I'd say it's 7+. The Bad Batch is 6+, and that has literal war crimes, so... But there are a lot of pretty scary moments, and especially later on in Series 4 and Series 6, there are some things which, I'm afraid to rewatch, because they were so scary. Hiding behind the sofa was a real thing that I have done on at least one occasion. Real thing, guys. But anyway, the Idiot's Lantern Joe. Sorry, you were saying.
That's all right. I think I don't
Hairdo is pretty
I don't have
snazzy,
too much to say about it. I like the whole father-son.
Yeah.
I like the whole family domestic stuff.
Yes.
And the way that pays off is quite nice. I am talking and I'm not listening.
It's great.
I love the
I'm
way that
talking.
Tennant just gives him that bollocking.
Yeah.
It's so well done. The villain's kind of hammy,
Yeah, absolutely.
but I like the name of the. I like the TV guy. I forget the actor's name. He was also in Week at the Top. As
Yeah.
Alexander Armstrong's best mate.
Magpie was a character's name.
Magpie. That was it, Mr. Magpie.
I don't remember all the actors' names.
I like Mr. Magpie,
but yeah.
but the one I always found really sort of creepy.
The Wire.
I like the Wire. That was it. Thank you. I liked the way they include the police. I thought that was all right.
That was cool. The detective inspector, yeah. So,
Yeah.
the thing about this story, I gave it a 10 out of 10, but for a kind of weird reason. I'm not actually going to give it an S tier. The way I see it, this episode is like the absolutely perfect average Doctor Who episode. It doesn't do anything unique or remarkable in that sense, but in terms of ticking the boxes with an Who episode that does everything good, it's perfect. It does everything. So, in a weird way, I gave it a 10 out of 10. Because it's not unique, I'm gonna give it fantastic rather than GOAT.
That's mine.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
It's all right. I'm gonna.
Man, what am I doing? Yeah, no, I'm put it there. Where would you put it?
I'm gonna put it down as good.
Fair enough. Yeah, because it's not like exemplary, but I actually think it is a solid episode. Like, it is rock solid.
I will say I love the locations that they use for it. The location shooting, the emphasis on that is what sells it for me.
Again, the acting, direction, and cinematography came together in like a way that was a bit more unique. Like, a lot of episodes, you can tell the direction was slightly different because they did more unique stuff with camera angles. Like,
hair and wardrobe on this one, like, the Doctor's Elvis up hair and Rose's outfit. They're really cool.
But
they fit the period as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of just really nice little details which aren't in a lot of episodes. Like, the Doctor's face is reflected in the monitor when he sees Rose's face in the monitor, and it's this nice, thematic thing. The way the tower scene was shot just looks real, even though it's probably like a green screen background with like a wind thing. Like, it just looks so good. I love the way it's lit. And there's this subtle white noise hum in pretty much all the scenes with the Wire, at least when they're indoors early on.
Yeah.
And it's so clever because it comes in and out with perfect timing. It's so clever. Central thing is obviously the writing. I thought it wasn't too drawn out. The plot's nicely done. There's some padding, but it serves character development, so I can forgive it. Again, the running gag, like in Tooth and Claw, of these two preparing to go to one place and ending up in another, like a couple decades out.
Yeah.
And again, the nuclear family unit, post-war time, and generational divides, all big themes.
Yeah.
Because it's the 50s in
Rise
England.
of the teenagers.
Yeah, it's excellent.
Yeah.
Using the coronation, this major historic British culture event, as and putting a sci-fi twist on it is a very Doctor Who thing to do. Yeah. I love that. There's lots of layers with the just kind of the jokes and the social commentary. I love this bit.
Yeah.
So there's a kid called Tommy, and his dad is a total boomer. He's I want to say he's a wife beater, but he's a bit unpleasant, and and he fought in the war, and he always brags about that, and he makes this brilliant point. He's like, the whole point about fighting against fascism was so that little twerps like me can be free to live and love as they please, and it's like a surprisingly explicit political message for the show, or a social message, and it's really cool.
Yeah. I wish more shows did that. Yeah,
it's got great obviously in modern context as well. It's a great just a great anti-fascism message in general. But and yeah, it's quite bold and impactful. That one really stood out to me. That little dialogue, it was great. I thought some characters like Magpie and the detective inspector could have been fleshed out more. The ending was a bit convenient and rushed, but there's little I can complain about. It's the perfect all-around episode.
It's good fun.
I don't know why I gave it 10 out of 10. I was being very generous at the time.
Yeah. Oh.
So
now you're talking.
Now we're talking. So, Idiot's Lantern, yeah, it's okay. But now we have the Impossible Planet and the Satan Pit.
Straight away, I'm just going to put these two at fantastic. Yeah. Both of them.
Yeah, okay. Fair play. Joe, start us off.
I think because I caught up on the Impossible Planet later on, but the same bit I remember catching up on because they always have the previously on Doctor Who bit at the start, which just helped me catch up on it very quickly. But
the previously is so good. You could just watch the Satan Pit, although obviously you don't get all the
exactly.
nuance.
I think if I'm going to bullet point this, this was the very last thing they shot for Series 2.
Yeah.
So you can see that David Tennant and Billie Piper, where they are at emotionally,
It's funny you mention that.
It's reflected in this story.
Because I feel like this is where Tennant really finally defined his role and really got into it more than ever. In a way that you
Absolutely.
immediately recognise in Series 3 and 4. It was the Satan Pit that really...
Exactly.
Because it feels like he's still not quite there yet with the others, but yeah, that one, ooh.
Exactly.
Especially.
The 10th Doctor, by now, he has this very commanding presence, which you see when he talks to the Ood, to the Devil.
It's great.
It's a great base under siege story.
That too,
which
yeah.
Doctor Who does exceptionally well. And it builds on Torchwood, but it also builds on the human empire, which is explored in Series 1 and Series 4 in particular.
Oh yeah, the fourth great and bountiful human empire.
Yeah. Or at this point, the second.
Yeah, it's all out of order.
But what you get... I just want to go out one here straight away to say, I think the Ood are a work of genius. And they're the best thing that Russell T Davies ever came up with.
Wow, really? Man, that's a claim right there.
I think the concept
that could be contested.
Which I think when Series 4 comes around, it's easy to go into greater depth for, but the way
Yeah.
they're introduced here and
The
the
Ood
way
are
they
brilliant.
appear in the cold open for the Impossible Planet,
That's Ood.
we must feed on a loop, and then when you just see him shake his thing and say,
Yes.
apologies, with the translation.
It's so funny. It's like Rose is getting food, and he's like, "The beast will rise from the pit and bring his armies to fight God." And she's like, "Excuse me?"
Hold on, the line is,
Something like
the beast and his armies will rise from the pit to wage war against God.
That's it. Yeah, wage war against God. It's like what?
I'm sorry? I said enjoy your meal.
It's so funny.
The guy who did the voice of the Ood, C.L.S. Carson, is a bit of a legend.
Yeah.
He played 3 characters in Star Wars in the prequels. He was Ki-Adi-Mundi, Newt Gunray, and the male pilot on the Jedi ship that the Trade Federation blew up.
Wow.
He was
okay.
also in the IT crowd as a character called Derek, I think, who
Yeah.
despised the IT department. I don't think there needs to be an IT department here. I want to replace it with something of a much higher purpose, like a big toilet.
Right.
But he's just right for the Ood.
Yeah.
And I think the concept of them as a whole, this is the first time we see them. It's like the way that they and Toby are used in these 2 episodes. The way that they're
amazing.
used by the Beast is just really, really effective.
Yeah.
Toby scares me as well.
Just want to mention, by the way, Banana Boy. I know Ethan said, but yeah, BBC iPlayer is where you can find all of this. If it asks you for your TV license, just say yes. It's not like they can actually check that.
I think in terms of
yeah.
in terms of the Doctor and Rose's chemistry, because like I said, this is the very last thing they shot for Series 2.
Yeah.
The chemistry is just on full form here.
It is.
This is when you see that they're most affectionate with each other, and the way that they just hug each other right at the end on the TARDIS, and she kisses his helmet. Before
Also,
he gets lowered down with what's her name?
I don't remember.
Uh,
Ethan, I see your message, by the way.
M, something beginning with M. I'm not sure.
I don't remember the minisodes because I never really got into those. But yeah, Pond Life, that was a thing.
I'm gonna have a quick look on my phone.
Sure. Listen, while we're here, by the way, we are actually about halfway through, guys. Because it is 14 episodes, and that's number 7 we're talking about. I'm gonna go AFK and take a break. Joe, you can stay here if you want, or you could
we're on
go
number
AFK
8.
as well if you need to go. AFK, but yeah, guys, I just want to mention first of all, today's charity shout out goes to Crisis. You might remember these guys from a charity stream that we did a while ago. Crisis is working to end homelessness in the UK. Great cause. Go check them out if you're bored waiting during the break. They are linked in the description with everything else, like Joe's Instagram. Ethan, I'm sorry, I'm removing your things since you're not joining us. I'm also going to leave the stage here because that's not being used. You know, my other channels and stuff, it's all there. But I also, I'm going to go AFK for a minute.
All right.
Joe, you can just keep talking if you want, but I'm going to put it on this screen.
Okay.
But they can hear you.
All right. So.
I'll be like 5 minutes tops. Just if you need to get hydration, go to the toilet, I think now's a chance, guys.
Could you...
Yeah, I'll refill yours, why not?
Yes, please. With some of the cordial, please.
You're the cordial.
Yes, please, dude.
Cordial.
Thank you, Matt. You're a very gracious host.
Yes.
All right.
All right, Joe, have fun.
I feel like Fraser Crane right now. Yeah. Hello, YouTube. I'm listening. Now, I'm interested to hear. Tell us what you think in the comments section below about the Impossible Planet and the Satan Pit. But for me, with this one, what you see are the Doctor and Rose's emotions on full display here. And like I was saying before, and the way that the two leads channel that, and there's this great scene where the two of them, they sit down together, and you know, they're so far out that Rose's Wi-Fi is just the signal on her phone's gone. And when she teases the Doctor, you know, you'd have to get a mortgage, that kind of thing. It's so fun. It's hilarious, and you know, you feel like you're watching a rom-com at that point when you see the two of them banter. But just the little parts, like when the Doctor talks about TARDISes, how they were grown, not built, and it's fun and it's scary, and as soon as the Doctor and Rose are separated, it becomes more interesting. You know, it follows that trend of the first few series of the revival, where the middle two-parter, like, by which I mean the second of the two or three parters that you would get with each season of Doctor Who, or at least with the Russell T Davies era, where the second two-parter is generally quite strong. Like Series 1, it's The Empty Child and the Doctor Dances. For Series 2, it's this. For Series 3, it's Human Nature and the Family of Blood. And for Series 4, it's Silence in the Library and Forest of the Dead. You get that the momentum is so strong there, and you're able to see different sides to all the characters when that kind of thing happens.
Joe, do you mean the grenadines? I can't find any cordial anywhere.
Oh, do you know the stuff in the bottle in
Where?
the kitchen?
In the
it's
kitchen?
Yeah, it's on the right. Although actually,
Oh, okay.
if you wouldn't mind making a drink of grenadine for me, please. Cheers, dude. Legends. Thank you, Matt. He's such a good bro. You're all very lucky on YouTube. I keep forgetting that I'm not on screen right now. But the Impossible Planet and the Satan Pit, and it's like the ideological themes as well, like the religious stuff, like, you know, things to do with like the devil and that kind of thing. And I remember the Doctor mentions the Khaled, god of war, at one point, which, because of course on Skaro they have gods of war, don't they? Grenadine, Livy, is it's a bit like squash but healthier. It's sugar-free squash, sort of. I'll tell you what, I'm gonna just skip ahead to another track. I don't know most of these. Hey, that's nice. There we go. Like I said, when you see the Doctor and Ida Scott, the character's name is, when they're further underground, and the Doctor talks to her over the earcom and says, if you talk to Rose, just tell her, oh, she knows. Like, that bit I've always found really strong. And it's literally like all hope is lost increasingly throughout the story, but as soon as they make it off planet, as soon as the Doctor finds the TARDIS, the poor old dude though, you know, I felt really sad when Dude died at the end of this one.
Dude took a major L.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. Have you just been doing your Satan Pit review? Boom, here we go.
But I think this episode, to borrow a phrase that the Doctor says to Rose about the two of them, at the end of the second bit, this two-parter is the stuff of legend.
It is. If I just move my mouse over here, maybe that'll be better. I don't need to access the keyboard much.
I'm just gonna have a little sip in the corner.
Yeah. Grenadine is like, it's like Ribena. It's like a kind of squash kind of thing. Also, it might have been reserved for Mum because it was unopened. So don't tell anyone we had any, because I'm not sure if we were allowed.
I think it's Dad's thing mainly.
Yeah, blame Dad. Blame Dad.
No. I mean, Dad has it more than anyone.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe I'm wrong. It was just Anyway, it doesn't matter. But yeah, so you rate those both fantastic.
Absolutely fantastic.
It's weird because I remembered these the least as well. Like, I just didn't remember them at all, and I don't know why. Because they're super memorable in my opinion. Like, they are a standout. It's a standout two-parter. So I'll just give you my review and then we'll continue. So my notes for these, I had a lot to say. I thought this two-parter is just an underrated gem. The sci-fi exposition is great. So this is also, as a child, this is how I learned what black holes were. Not from school, not from books, from Doctor Who. Alright? Again, another major sci-fi concept that is like well, explained in the context of this show for both, children and adults. You got the Sanctuary base, the Ood, the social political commentary of a slave race of Ood, and the kind of colonization and imperialism. I also like some of the production elements going in cinematography. Like, there's a pretty crude camera shake for all like the earthquake stuff, but it works. And the airlock scene is really impactful. It takes its time to really develop a fairly large set of characters, because there's like a crew, and we get to meet the crew. It's like there's all these different people, and there's a lot of foreshadowing of the mystery of the pit on this planet that is somehow defying being sucked into a black hole, guys. Basically, there's this impossible planet, is this planet with some kind of gravitational force so powerful, it is orbiting a black hole without being sucked in. And whatever it is, the energy source is in the pit, in the core of the planet. There's a mention of the power needing, the power of 6 every 6 seconds, generating something. Welcome to hell written on the wall. And then the Ood, they have these like communicator devices that kind of translate their language, and they keep getting interfered. All the electronics keep going off. It's like really weird. They say things like, he is awake.
And you will worship him.
The beast shall rise in the pit to make war with God. Toby's possession as well. Toby's the guy who's translating this ancient text, which the TARDIS can't translate because it is so ancient, and that immediately stands out as like a really weird thing. And then the Ood have red eyes, and yeah, basically some kind of devil, demon thing is manipulating everything, but it's completely show not tell. Like, it doesn't tell you, it's just all nicely and subtly foreshadowed. And it goes completely unnoticed by the characters, it's not commented on, so you have to be paying attention to notice. So it's up to the viewer to work out, basically. It's really nice. Again, the Doctor and Rose like face the prospect of being trapped because they've lost the TARDIS. It's another example of the dangers of time travel. And then they speculate and imagine living together in a domestic setting and settling down, which is obviously reflecting the growing romance between the two, but also like how it's an interesting inversion of Rose's whole dynamic, because she wants to go travel and go out there and explore the universe. But now she's thinking of settling down with the Doctor as opposed to, with her old life. It's just a really weird and interesting thing that they actually give time to happen between everything. And I actually like that every member of the crew actually feels kind of developed. I'm disappointed that Scooty was killed off so early. Like, she doesn't get much screen time. And the deaths were kind of like, because a lot of people die in this way, they were kind of unevenly spaced out. But you got the Ood scenes and the basic 100s. Of their, basically, they have this mental state, because they're telepathic creatures that have like a hive mind, that's measured with a thing called basic, and it's like at basic 5, and it goes up to 100, which is like ridiculous. It's like they're screaming inside their minds, and it's like, yeah, just another thing that builds up the tension. I feel like there's a bit of like random, like the devil taunts Jefferson, for example, with his wife not forgiving him about something that's never explained. It just feels out of place. I just thought that was a bit weird. Although, it makes more sense in part 2. I also thought some of the hints at the devil were a bit on the nose. Like, we literally see him in full in like a hologram for a split second, which I thought was unnecessary, because it kind of spoils the reveal in part 2. And I feel like the Doctor doesn't have much input on, like, the society of the time that could have been really interesting. Like, the Ninth Doctor makes remarks about the Empire and the long game that would enhance the kind of political social commentary, but the Doctor doesn't really comment on it, which is a bit of a shame. But in terms of writing, it kind of ticked all the boxes for me, and it got, like, a nice, you know, cliffhanger, so I gave it a 9.5 out of 10. I just thought this was amazing, so... I'm probably going to put them both in GOAT, to be honest. Anything about this. But yeah, just going back into the Satan pit, I'll just finish this off. Again, I thought all the same things were good, like the way it was paced, the way the stakes were increased. It was nice and thrilling. It served, you know, the Part 2 purpose. So it's brilliant because basically there's this devil-like antagonist who taunts each and every crew member. They like can read their minds and are feeding on basic fears. But Rose and the Doctor, the two strangers who aren't, you know, enlisted in the team or anything, they're the ones who reassure and motivate them and utilize them effectively. It's great. Like, the Doctor, you know, explains what's going on, and Rose actually, like, directs everyone. She takes charge of the situation. And it's a nice example of the fact that she's not, like, a Mary Sue character at all, and she's not just some helpless sidekick. You know, she's come a long way since Series 1 and is actually very much an active, you know, protagonist who does a lot more than you would think. It's not all just the Doctor. Again, the themes of fear and, like, religious belief are really explored in this story. And, like, religion is not something you often see in Doctor Who, which is why this episode really impressed me. Like, it was very unique in that respect. And there's this microcosm of each character fighting their own battle. Jefferson, he has to die on his own terms. He's, like, you know, high honor. Zachary actually gets out alive, but he's, like, the leader who doesn't want to lead because the actual captain died. Zachary was brilliant. I think Danny kind of left more to be desired. He was just sort of panicky. And then you got Toby, which was really tragic, because he gets possessed and he ends up dying in a parallel to Scooty's fate, which felt kind of undeserved. Because Rose fucking kills him in cold blood.
I think maybe he was too far gone.
Yeah, I guess she was just thinking...
There's a point when he hisses at her to shut up when they're on the spaceship, and it's like, it's kind of left open to interpretation. Is that Toby speaking, or is it the Beast?
Yeah. The Beast is like possessing him, and it's because it comes and goes.
I like to think it's quite ambiguous.
And because like Toby's got like all the like the weird scars like tattooed him and red eyes, and he's like he literally goes outside of the airlock and is like kept alive by mysterious means, and he's like friggin' in like a panic state later, and he doesn't remember. It's super creepy. Ida, that's the one you were talking about. Ida is awesome. She's one of my favorites, dude. She and the Doctor are the ones who go exploring into the caves and find these like ancient temples and the pit. And they like actually have this dialogue about what they believe. And the Doctor's like, you know, an atheist really, doesn't really know what to believe, doesn't believe anything. And it's like even he is very hesitant to accept the idea that Satan, you know, in the pit is real, that there's an actual devil. And they lower him on like 10 kilometers of cable, because that's all they had from the lift that crashed. And there's just this bottomless pit that he has to fall into because he like has to find out. And it's tell Rose, oh, she knows. It's just a great the plot and the character development both being furthered at the same time, just consistent responses to everything. And lastly, here we go. Oh, you guys are gonna like this. Again, I'm just mentioning the same things here. I love the way the cinematography is done. There's like camera jump cuts when he's doing his speech. It's very doctory when he finally meets the Beast physically. Again, I felt like this was the first super doctory one in the 10 era. This unique charisma and charm that, you know, is immediately recognizable in every episode of Series 3 and 4. Like Series 2, I don't know, he took a while to settle the role, I think, compared to Eccleston. Not in a bad way at all, but it's just like, you know, they needed quite a few episodes to really get all of his dimensions, because he's quite a complex character.
Oh yeah.
Again, he's got that snarky, loudmouth, thinking out loud, genius charm, which was, you know, explicitly made clear in the Christmas Invasion. It's just that actually showing it, you know, it took time. I thought the CGI was also okay. Some of the CGI has aged terribly from these episodes. Some of it is great.
I think the emphasis on practical effects for the base and for the ooze.
The cave paintings, the costume of the spacesuit, the sanctuary-based spacesuit, which is iconic. Yeah. We see it again many times in future. He keeps his suit, the Doctor.
Over multiple incarnations as well.
Yeah. I know the TARDIS's location is very convenient, that it just happens to be in the cave, but it did fall down before, so it does make sense. It is justified by like what happened earlier, so I don't think that's too bad. I'm kind of disappointed that we didn't get to the Beast actually speak to the Doctor, because he's like put his mind into Toby, so what's left behind is just the body without the intelligence. It's kind of weird. I also found Rose's obsession with the Doctor quite infuriating. She's like insisting that they go back to save him, even as they're all getting away.
Does...
And, it's just kind of annoying in that situation.
I think it's more the way it's written. Really, at that point, it feels very, soapy and very very cheesy.
This is the thing,
which is fine. Doctor Who does cheese very,
I don't
well.
know. This is probably just personal preference, but the thing I didn't like about Series 2 in terms of the arc, and I'll elaborate on this later, is that they chose to make the series arc, instead of a subject matter, they made it the Doctor and Rose's relationship, which was already a thing that was well developed in Series 1. It was actually more developed. There was more change in Rose from the start of Series 1 to the end of Series 1 than the start of Series 2 to the end of Series 2, because she doesn't really change. And I think the whole point of the story was that she refuses to actually face the consequences, and it, creates a massive impact in the end. But it's like, sometimes it's just really cringy kind of soap opera, and it feels very forced. It's like especially with some of the other episodes coming up, it's like, Russell T's writing, it's like telling you instead of showing you that you have to care about these two, when actually, it shouldn't have to rely on that much exposition. It can be done more organically. Anyway, I know this is a long one, but this is like one of my favorite episodes ever. So the last things I wanted to say is that I love how ambiguous the nature of the Beast is. Was that actually Satan? Is Satan real? Was he lying? Or, like, is this just something else? Or what? It's rightfully left open to interpretation, and it's really good. And for those of you who enjoyed Iron Lung, which I did play through on the channel, it's just like that. It's cosmic horror with a tinge of religion and also the magic charm of Doctor Who. It's similarly got those elements of religion and space and horror, and it's just amazing. It actually left me emotionally drained after watching it. Like, I watched it just before going to bed at like 3 a.m, which is perfect. So yeah, I'm giving them both S tier. I think they were amazing. Yeah. Right. We're going to get through the next ones a bit quickly, I think, Joe, because now...
The next two, I think we can... the next two episodes, I think we can...
Before we do this, I just want to catch up with chat, because I see Sam Gibbons, he's now in chat. Hey! He was here physically, now he's there. Love this, love Series 2. Series 2 remains my favourite. Well, I'm going to be doing tier list episodes, just reminding everyone, of every series up to Series 10 over the course of this year, up to the 60th anniversary of Doctor Who, and then I might do... I'm going to skip the Chibnall stuff, if I'm being honest, but I'm going to probably do some kind of tier list of the new stuff after that's out, maybe. So... subscribe if you haven't already to see as it comes out. You're welcome to join us as well.
We wanted a question for everyone, didn't we?
Oh, the QOTD. I completely forgot. Yeah, now that we're halfway through the stream, let's actually write a real QOTD instead of what?
All right.
Joe, have you got one for us?
All right. I've been mulling it over. Now, it has to be an open-ended question.
Yes.
All right. Here's one. What? And this could be more of a general thing for the Tennant era as a whole. What would you like to have seen more from David Tennant's Doctor at the time when he was in the role? Or what would you like to have seen him do differently?
I'm just going to phrase that differently as, what is the biggest missed opportunity in Series 2? Okay. But you heard the man, guys. Like, with, this era of Who, man, I wish I could create a bigger spacing between the lines, but I can't, so that's how that looks. But there's a QOTD. Best answer to that question will win a shout-out linked in the description with Crisis and everything else.
Yes.
So give it a go.
And they will also win a no prize.
Yeah. But yeah, just going to read chat, and then we're going to get on with the last ones. There's also foreshadowing, Ethan, you're right, because the Beast foreshadows Doomsday. The valiant child who will die in battle so very soon. Love the voice acting of that one. Again, we'll talk about Series 3 and 4, in their own videos. Ignore Joe. Joe's being a weird guy. Just don't make eye contact. Don't make eye contact. Alright, Joe, before we continue, Love and Monsters. What? Shall I just... Do you want to just... Joe, please. Please, Joe, I can't do this alone. Please.
It's okay.
Joe,
I've got you. He hasn't had his yogurt yet. Shh. It's okay, young one. All right.
All right.
That's all right. Yeah, I'm okay, Livy. Don't worry.
We're just memeing, guys. If you don't move, Joe can't see you.
The screen froze on my side.
Man,
That's what
Ethan's got some unpopular opinions. Love to see the controversial, but I
Love
respect
and
it.
Monsters. I remember I watched this one again a few years ago.
I'm actually
like-
refreshed on everything, so I remember details. It's
This sort of
it's an episode, all right.
It's
the
one
most
of the most
episode of all
episodes
time.
of all time.
Hey,
Jinx,
Jinx, Panda, 1, 2,
1, 2, 3,
3.
Jinx, pig, Jinx, 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 Jinx.
God damn it.
Anyway,
We cancel each other out, so
yes, like
Sorry,
a
Joe, let me
supernova
put
and
my
a
mouse
black hole in the exact same instant. Wait for
an
series.
unstoppable force versus an immovable object.
See, I made a Doctor Who reference.
Very nice. Yes,
Yeah.
obviously.
So mine trumps yours.
Right.
Anyway,
Joe, let's
anyway,
just-
Love and Monsters.
Why is it bad?
I'm gonna have it as okay
Really? Okay, respect it. Why?
because I like the idea. It sets the trend of what we would call a Doctor Light episode. You see it in series 2,
Excuse me.
you see it in
Oof.
series 3, and you see it in series 7. I think
Oh, but Blink did it so much better.
it did.
But yeah, go on.
But Love and Monsters is really sort of the first time in the revival that this has really been done. I'm going to say it's okay because the stuff about the group Linda coming together is quite nice, and it touches on a couple of adult themes and the way that you get the whole thing with Elton and... Stop it!
Sorry, I do it on my own tier list.
It's all right.
I fidget.
What it does with...
Fidgeter.
It's okay.
I'm going to stop doing that. Hands are off.
Because you have to remember it was Russell T Davies who wrote this one. I like all the Linda stuff. London Investigative Detective Agency.
That was funny.
I think that's
but
quite endearing.
I think there's just a few... yeah, I'll talk about it in mine in a minute. Go through yours
I
first.
do think... I like the way that it backtracks episodes across series 1 and 2 and ties in with them.
There
from
are
the
some
point of
cool
view-
flashbacks.
From Elton's point of view. And I like the relationship between him and... What's the girl with the glasses called
Yeah,
again?
exactly. You don't even remember half these
Yeah.
characters' fucking names. It's so unmemorable in my opinion.
But I think the Hoiks is quite fun as well, and that...
The Hoiks?
Yeah, at the start. That's what it's
Oh,
called.
that's what it's called.
Yeah, it's called a Hoiks.
Dude, it's not even named in the episode.
Yeah.
I didn't even remember that was it. Ursula
that
Blake.
bit at the
that was
start
it.
where you see
Thank you,
Dr.
Ethan.
Rose chasing it with, no, not blue, and they do the whole Scooby-Doo thing. I think that's
Yeah.
quite funny, and it's deliberately played for laughs. Peter Kay drags the episode down.
Who's Peter Kay?
He's the Absorbloff / Victor.
Oh, he's the
what's his
actor
name?
of Victor, fucking Absorber Man.
Yeah.
Dude, so bad.
I think he drags the episode down. By a bit.
Oh,
I
really?
just don't find him very endearing to watch, and he veers on being too creepy and then too and then too gobby. It's like
Yeah, that
there's no middle ground with that
mouse over
character,
here. Nice thing about
and you're not
Bluetooth
quite
mouse.
clear what his motivations are.
Sorry, I'm talking over you, but yeah, you're absolutely right. Okay, guys.
I like the stuff with Jackie, and it's nice seeing more of her
That was
life
excellent, actually.
outside of the Doctor and Rose, and the way she gets very flirty and very cheeky with Elton, and the whole pizza thing.
That was nice.
It's good getting to see more of what's happening, what's going on with Jackie, and she's quite right to be pissed off. Like when she finds that actually this guy's doing it because he's trying to get to the Doctor. But I feel like the Absorbloff / Victor, he needed more of a motivation than just I don't like the Doctor. Although there is one Easter egg I think I mentioned this earlier on. You look at the newspaper he's reading. It is the first direct reference in all of Doctor Who to Mr. Saxon.
Oh, really? I never noticed that. No way.
Yeah. Look really closely just before he pulls the paper away, and you see him as the Absorbloff.
Well, now I actually want to go check.
Yeah.
BBC, don't strike down my stream. I'm gonna mute it. All right, everyone, relax. Just relax, okay? I actually need visual confirmation because I didn't notice that. That's nuts.
Yeah, man. One thing that
I just need the...
again, because it's like it's a filler episode,
Here it is.
but it's like it there are some bits of it that were
It's the Telegraph.
and some bits that kind of don't, because Ursula, that was a character's name,
Yeah.
because the
Saxon.
right there, I think there's a close-up of it as well.
I'm just gonna keep playing until we get closer.
Saxon leads polls, it says.
We'll talk about that when we do series 3. Can't really see it.
But I remember, I think there was a Blue Peter contest, and the winner like to have a monster featured on Doctor Who, and the
Man.
the winning entry was the Absorbaloff.
God, you
I
can
think
tell.
that's partly how this one came around, which I think is quite endearing.
There it is.
There it is.
Saxon leads polls at 64%. Man, I thought the first reference was Runaway Bride. Oh God, there he is. Utterly vile. I need to just cleanse my eyes with some actually good Who content, so I'm just gonna put this on screen instead. Mute. Do not copyright.
Is it going to be that bit of the two of the?
I'm just gonna.
Quite a cool idea. Because again, the ideas are there, but
okay.
But again, Peter Kane, the Absorbaloff, just they drag it down.
Are you guys ready for my scathing review? Because I think Joe's actually right here. I can appreciate what it was trying to do, but holy shit. The thing is, the standard of Doctor Who is really high. So getting a mediocre episode that's like a 5 out of 10 is quite a surprise. Getting something that is so astonishingly just like below standard that I rated it 2 out of 10 because I wasn't sure on the scale since I barely put episodes down there whether it was like a 1 or a 5 or what, 'cause it's all the same to me. That just really surprised me. Like, I knew this one was unpopular, but holy crap, I might even give it its own category. It's so bad. So what I wrote here.
Poop category.
I mean, I'm not trying to hate, okay, but first of all, this episode was clearly made in a budget. I like the idea of a, normal human searching for the Doctor POV, but the execution was just terrible. It was already done in Series 1 with Clive, if you guys remember this, in Rose. This whole thing was already done in Rose, because in Rose, the Doctor's actually pretty absent for the first, half. It's like a solid 20, 30 minutes. And that's introducing the character in a mythical way. It's so much more effective. This one just feels kind of like, well, they needed to meet the episode quota. And the tone is off, since Tennant and Piper are barely in it, so you don't have any of the charisma. Elton is just uninspired. I don't know. I feel like he's just not interesting. I know he's intentionally made out to be inadequate and weak, but what did I say here? I just thought it was cringy. There was a lot of padding out with forced humor, gags, and references. It starts off as a movie he's made, so there's just lots of exposition of him telling the story, and they just randomly throw in like 15 seconds of him just jamming out to a song. It's just got absolutely. It's just a waste.
Oh yeah, all the Mr. Blue Sky.
Mr. Blues, that was it. It's all that.
Electric Light Orchestra.
Perfectly fine, but because I love a good bit of Brit culture in there, but it's it doesn't meld into the story in any meaningful way. It's not like with In Tooth and Claw when they've got I forget the name of the song, Ian Jury's thing.
Hit Me With Your Rhythm Stick.
Yeah, because that was brilliant, because that was to do with, that's the running gag of them going to the wrong place. That's nicely done, but here it's just, it adds nothing. There's zero relevance or bearing on anything. And yeah, this episode just scores low in my book. So it relies a lot on Series 1 and the lore, and it's I don't know, it just...
It's not a bad thing.
It's not remarkable. That on its own is not bad, but it's the thing. It's the complete thing that's bad, not necessarily the individual ideas.
Maybe part of it is to do with how far on in the series it is as well.
Yeah.
If it had come a bit earlier,
maybe, but
before the Cybermen two-parter.
The worst thing about it is what you said. It's the villain. They feel generic and dull with a half-baked motive. There's no explanation of what he actually wants or why. The backstory is super half-baked. They clearly just reused the Slitheen costume, and they just half-ass some backstory about, oh, it's the sister world or something.
Yeah.
And the sci-fi, the Kane being a device that inhibits its absorption just opens up all kinds of logical fallacies about how the species are born and raised if they immediately absorb everything around them without it. There's just, if you scrutinize it for a minute, it just falls apart. Which Doctor Who normally doesn't do. The sci-fi is usually kind of robust, because there's some kind of explanation, even if it's, sci-fiction, it's a bit magic. But, here it's just ignored. It's like a kid's cartoon. The wacky sequences, like the portal doors in the cold open, looking more like Scooby-Doo than Doctor Who. I mean this in the worst way possible. Look, I love Scooby-Doo, but it was so bad. Unless they intended the doors to actually be portals... It looks so bad, because normally the show is realistic, it's grounded, it takes itself seriously, and it has, it literally has cartoon logic. It looks like a cartoon with them coming out of, the wrong door, and the chase being reversed. It's so bad. It's just so bad. The brilliant thing about this episode, so I think this episode actually did really well, which I'm actually going to give it a 3 out of 10 for this, is that actually it does amazing character development for Jackie, because we see... the brilliant and captivating story what happens to those left behind.
Yeah.
And it's
it
like
ties in with Sarah Jane a little
it's
bit.
really sad because Jackie's clearly like quite lonely. She's always had this kind of flirtatious edge, and it's because she's like genuinely very alone. And we have this bittersweet reminder of like, you know, the consequences of Rose's actions. Rose is actually very irresponsible. She's pretty amoral in series 1 and 2 if you really look at it closely, because she basically abandoned her mum for this travel and really didn't go to a great effort for compromise. And Tennant, of course, steals all of his scenes, which is just some exposition at the end. But it just feels so good to see Rose and Dave, at the end.
Rose and
after
Dave.
The everything. Sorry, Billy and Dave, I should say.
Rose and Dave sounds like a good name.
But yeah,
for a
I know
sitcom.
this is mean, but
Rose
watch
and
it and judge it for yourself. I just thought it was exposition heavy. Elton's narration was too distracting. The tone was inconsistent. The dialogue was pretty ropey, but the epitome of cringe. Okay, so bit of context because I need to explain this because it's so bizarre. Elton's love interest Ursula, she gets absorbed, and then the Doctor melts the absorbed off into the pavement. But he uses a sonic screwdriver to revive Ursula as a face in a slab of concrete, okay? She's a face in a slab of concrete. And out of all the weird logical fallacies of this episode chooses to address the love life that Elton has with Ursula as a fucking face in concrete. I don't even want to think about that. But then there's a very on-the-nose, clunky message at the end about how, touching the Doctor, can cause damage and, consequences.
Giggity.
And how much... Yeah, exactly. And it's the same message that The Girl in the Fireplace, School Reunion, World War III, The End of the World, and pretty much every other episode did better. So... I think the Jackie scenes were excellent. I think there was some decent ideas, but it did not come together. And it's the only episode that really falls apart this far.
Yeah.
Which is a shame. Which is why it's probably the only one I actually put in the bad slot. But
fair enough.
If you wanna try and change my mind on that, go ahead. Because is it overhated? Probably. But the standard is so high with every other episode. This one sticks out as worse than the others.
Tell us in the comments, what do you think?
Exactly. We've got a live chat right now, so.
Now, fear her.
Just reading chat.
Before we do.
Sorry, Joe.
Someone deleted a comment.
It happens. Message retracted. He probably made a typo. But yeah, so she's the same person who plays Moaning Myrtle in Harry Potter. Interesting.
That's right.
Never realised.
Oh yeah.
Cursed Jabba the Hutt vibes. Yeah, no, it's such an ugly...
Oh.
I would happily just ignore this one and pretend it's not canon or something. It's so bad. You can literally see the scenes cut between them going through the different doors. That is sloppy, dude. If you look at the water on the floor, that is yikes. I hadn't even realised. If you look at the water on the floor, you can literally see the jump cut. Ew. That is yikes, because the production standards usually... I mean, this is BBC.
Whenabouts?
When they're doing where they're running through the door Scooby-Doo style, you can literally see the jump cuts. I didn't notice that, to be fair. I'm sure the people making it somehow didn't, because it was a subtle thing, but that's yikes.
Now...
Banana Boy, do what you gotta do. Let's talk about Fear Her. Joe, back to you.
Thanks, Matt.
I like doing this. I let the collaborators talk first and just initial thoughts, and then I go into detail with my notes and everything. It's great.
Absolutely.
You're comfy there.
Yeah, absolutely.
You just lean on my
You comfy?
chair. No.
You comfy want to do this?
Fuck off. Get out of my space.
I'm not on my
Personal space, Joe. Personal space.
So, while Matt is over there having some sort of episode, let's talk about Fear Her. Are you done?
Joe's a major L. Not even a minor L, you're a major L. Why do I keep clicking this by accident? Okay, let's just... Joe, rank Fear Her, where does it go?
I'm also going to have it on okay.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
Yeah, but I think this one outdoes Love and Monsters because of... I'm going to say again, we get to spend more time with the Doctor and Rose.
Okay.
And what you get here is an inversion... Oh, I'm sorry.
It's fine.
What you get is an inversion of The Idiot's Lantern.
Basically,
and Rose takes
similar.
A bit of a lead here.
This, and
you
this,
get
they all like
people. It does feel a little bit copy and paste in that regard, but I think with Fear Her,
damn Ethan, I hadn't thought.
I think
of
the
that.
contemporary setting and the fact that, well, I say contemporary, it's set 6 years in the future at the time, even though it's the past now for us.
Yeah, the story's set in 2012.
Yeah, that's
because it's the London Olympics, which is kind of funny when we actually got to 2012. It was only 6 years in the future because it's made in 2006.
But that's quite a nice idea.
Yeah.
I think that they have it just a little farther into the future.
They do this with Dalek as well. That's in like 2000.
Same year.
And that's also the year that Series 6 happens in the Utah desert. The same.
It's 2011.
Place. Is it not 12?
Yeah.
Whatever. It's close though. It's it's funny to think that Dalek with Van Staten and stuff is happening underground while up on the surface, like the things with the silence is going on. That's interesting.
Crazy.
Yeah. Unintentional link. Anyway.
Oh yeah, of course. But I think with this one, I love doing cartoons and drawing in freehand in my own time.
Joe is actually quite a talented artist, guys. You should see his hand like pencil drawings. They're great.
Thanks, man.
Or illustrations.
Cheers. It's making me
enjoy
blush.
the compliment while it lasts, because you haven't got a lot else going for you. You're stupid, ugly, cringe. You're sad. You're stupid.
You're compensating, aren't you?
You're cringe. Guys, tell him. Absolute chungus right here. Was that a compliment?
No, you.
Okay, Joe.
Matt.
Fear her.
I'm gonna.
It's mid. It's not bad. It's mid.
Yeah, I like. Again, it's the chemistry between the Doctor and Rose. Here, it's a bit more naturalistic, I think, than the Impossible Planet and the Satan Pit. I love that. I do. I think the girl who plays Chloe. I think she's given some pretty cheesy lines. But you have to remember that she's possessed by an alien for the whole thing.
Yeah.
The drawing and the devil concepts are quite nice, and it kind of revisits the Satan Pit. In that regard, I always thought, you got this face going in the cupboard, and it's all red and everything.
It kind of does look like the Beast, actually.
And seeing the drawings come to life is really scary. Like you see one guy just sort of screaming and running.
love how that was animated. The guy in the intro who's running towards
that's scary. And Doctor Who does scary very well.
Yeah.
I like the little cat reference as well. When Rose sees this tomcat and the Doctor.
And it goes in the box and it vanishes.
Yeah. And the Doctor
it's
thinks
actually
that
this scene
Rose is talking about him at first and says, "Oh well, I've been experimenting with backcombing," and then he sees Rose looking at the cat and he's all sort of. It's the little comedic touches I think that are quite funny, and also right at the end, I know when you just get this little sense, like when everything's resolved. You get a sense that a storm's approaching.
Yeah, they're watching the fireworks and they literally say a storm's coming.
I also really like the bit where the Doctor sticks his finger in the jar and just goes.
And
Rose just looks at him going.
I don't understand why that little bit exists. I don't know what
I think it's just
about.
David Tennant being David Tennant.
Maybe it was just to show how alien the Doctor is. It was just odd.
Exactly. I mean, we've all done it.
Just a little pointless
I've done it. But I think that in terms of giving Rose more to do before the finale, it's brilliant. The concept I think is quite nice. I actually prefer the concept for this than I do on The Idiot's Lantern, even if I think Fear Her is a slightly weaker episode.
I tell you what, The Idiot's Lantern does the actual characters and writing stuff like better, but Fear Her has more originality.
Exactly.
So this idea of an alien possessing a little girl and turning her making her drawings of real people, put them in drawings, it's amazing. It's really interesting. But the thing about this is that it's just mid. There's just little for me to say about it. From the very start, it's clear what exactly was going on. So watching the characters gradually figure out was tedious rather than intriguing. With every other episode, it's like you don't know what's going on, but here, you already know what's going on, so it just feels really drawn out. There's they spread the mystery very thin. And it's a lot of the things like acting, directing are passable, but there's nothing memorable or really interesting about it. Again, the dialogue is the conflict is it's just there's really nothing crazy about it. The stakes are pretty high to be fair, but it all, I don't know, it all works out. I just feel like it could have been executed in a much more interesting way with some other elements. It was just kind of lacking.
Yeah.
Having the Doctor and the TARDIS be drawn and lost was actually excellent for raising the stakes, so that really put Rose to the test. So it's definitely
for this one. I think instead of having a child's drawings, I would have had an artist. Doesn't have to be Van Gogh because they do them later on.
Great quality,
but doing something like that, experiment with things like comic books and cartoons and hand drawings and fine art, that kind of thing. I would really love to have seen that explored, like the scribble thing. Like
Oh yeah, the scribble monster was a clever idea.
Yeah,
That was nice.
I thought
Also,
that
yes,
was
Ethan.
weird and
Really
fun,
drawn out.
very sci-fi. Oh, the door just moved on.
I
its own.
think someone's out there. It's fine. Anyway,
Gollum.
guys, we're now approaching the finale. We're going to spend a lot of time talking about these episodes, and this is actually going to be much shorter than the other stream. We're going to be done before we hit 3 hours at this speed.
Yeah.
Like we needed 4 hours last time. This is going to be done, so that's good. So Joe, Army of Ghosts.
Army of Ghosts, straight away, goat.
Yes, agreed. It might be the best episode in the series. I'm not sure.
Ooh.
I mean, Doomsday, it's the same story. It's all one thing, really. But Army of Ghosts specifically for...
I think
Go-
Army
you
of
go
Ghosts is a very slow burn, and it's where the story really sort of takes a proper sort of course correction after the Satan Pit. And it's like, okay, we've seen all these different bits. We've seen, this is where you get the payoff to Torchwood, the payoff to Mickey, the payoff to Jackie,
Yeah.
the payoff to the Doctor and Rose's relationship. And it
I don't
all
think it was
comes
slow.
together.
It felt really good pace because there was just so much going on.
The pace, I don't mean slow in terms of pace, but I mean slow in terms of just what's it all building towards. Like you get this
the way it
void
raised
ship.
the tension was excellent. I love the
Yeah,
void ship.
there's this lurking sense of dread.
The sphere,
I mean-
it exists.
Yeah, I mean, we knew from the trailers that the Cybermen were coming back. Mickey was a surprise.
Yeah. Cool.
I love all the Torchwood stuff. There's not a lot I can say that hasn't already been said.
Yeah,
but-
I have a lot to say about it, but I can basically copy paste that to Doomsday, so
Yeah.
Doomsday won't take as long.
But I think that if you listen very closely to the subtle music cues, like when the Doctor says, "This is a void ship," that tell you who or what is at work.
And it's got like the choral voices, isn't it? Which is like a hallmark of a particular... Okay, guys, listen. I'm being dead serious right now. If you haven't... Well, Joe, could you budge up a bit? If you guys don't want to be... If you're interested in actually watching Doctor Who and you haven't watched it before, and you're thinking, man, this show sounds really cool, stop watching, go watch Doctor Who, start with Rose Series 1, it's on BBC iPlayer, and just go watch Army of Ghosts and Doomsday before you watch this, because we are about to spoil what I think is one of the best reveals / plot twists
Everybody dies
in TV
this
history.
movie.
Literally, like the cliffhanger of Army of Ghosts is one of the most amazing plot twists I've ever seen on television. Like, and I do not want to spoil it for anybody.
The cliffhanger is right up there with Best of Both Worlds.
If you've seen it though, stick around.
Yeah.
So yeah, Joe, let's talk about it. Like,
All right. Are we all
you've
good?
been warned, okay? Spoilers.
All right. Oh my god, I couldn't believe it when Morbius appeared.
Dude, Thomas the Tank Engine died, and then he got revived.
Yeah.
Insane.
And Darth Vader
Yeah.
did a breakdance with the
Dwayne The
Terminator.
Rock Johnson,
What?
who was actually the Terminator all along
Who's
in
Thunder Rock
disguise.
Johnson?
Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Oh, Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
He raised his eyebrow all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
And then, like, they summoned the Starship Enterprise and teamed up with...
The Avengers.
Yeah, it was absolutely...
The UK Avengers
the
and
most
the Marvel
movie
Avengers.
of all time.
Yeah. And
The Daleks were in the void ship.
the Daleks.
The Daleks
Dude,
or Cybermen.
that's
Look, this has been out for 16 years, okay? I gave people fair warning, so... Dude.
I thought that...
Yeah, we're going to be talking about it.
Oh, right, of course.
Now we're talking about it.
That's not a spoiler. I'll tell you what is a spoiler.
It wasn't teased, though. It wasn't in the teasers at all.
Yeah. No, it wasn't. I mean,
So
there's like
here's a
one
spoiler.
ray gun blast in the trailer because they released
Yeah, but it's
A trailer for both
a
episodes.
surprise reveal.
together. But
It's
yeah,
an actual
it's
surprise.
a surprise.
Anyway, but yeah, so Army of Ghosts, though,
But
just in
it's
general.
like it's excellent. It's like right at the very end, literally within the last 20 seconds, where it's like, oh my god, it's the
It's
Daleks.
just brilliant. You know, I'm gonna go through and
it's-
talk about everything because
but
I have
it doesn't.
so much to say
It doesn't
about this.
feel like they've been shoehorned in.
No.
It's because you kind of wonder, I mean, Series 1 did put a really nice cap on the Daleks that said, okay, this could be a very definitive end for them.
Same as like with that
But-
second Doctor episode from the 60s.
But what if? But there is always going to be this residual from the Time War. And this extends to Doomsday as well. But in Army Ghosts, what you get is you establish more of Time Lord mythology. You know, when the Doctor talks about the Void.
The Void.
The Void.
Oh, there's actually not as much as I thought there would be.
Yeah.
This can wait.
But it's like the way they use Canary Wharf and the way they use the Cybermen, and Freema Rajaman gets a cameo. Wow. As Adiola, Martha's cousin.
Yeah.
It's really nice. And again, it further lays the groundwork for the Torchwood spin-off. The theme tune is even heard when the Doctor runs outside with Rose.
I don't even know
and
the
the
Torchwood
ghost
theme
goes
show.
through him at the Powell estate.
Ah,
You
yeah.
just hear it go.
I love that motif. That soundtrack is unreleased.
Yeah.
And it's like,
I'm such a nerd.
this is one of the things that stood out about the episode. Like, it just ticks everything. Even with, like, little technical stuff, like soundtrack and cinematography, it's unique.
Good.
There are sounds and, like, camera angles which aren't seen anywhere else in the series. Like, this, it's stylized, so you can immediately... It's distinct from all the episodes, so it stands out. But also, crucially, it's the writing. It had the right tone at the right moments, and everything came together. And this episode did a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of moving parts. Also, first use of Alonzi in here.
Alonzi, yeah. All right, let's get into my notes here. So, I thought, well, obviously you got the intrigue and mystery of the ghosts to begin with, which is done really nicely because it completely inverts what we normally have. The Doctor is truly confused. The ancient god is usually the confident and most knowledgeable person in the room. He's the one who's confused, and it's Jackie and everyone else who's kind of acting like this is normal and, you know, friendly. And Jackie even says it's like, oh man, you know, don't like it when you don't know everything, do you? It's just brilliant. Jackie really shines in this episode, and it's so funny to see her dynamic, and Rose is like really concerned. It's just great. You know, a hilarious and endearing representation of parenting as well as British culture stems from those early scenes. The TV channel scene as well, where they're flicking through and the ghosts are like, it's been 3 months and they're already integrated into like
on the
society
news,
on game shows and
EastEnders.
stuff. Yeah.
Like, get out of my pub.
You remember that, yeah. It's
Yeah.
a clever way to integrate something absurd and alien into everyday life and culture, both in 2006 and now. I love it. The way the episode linked into the overall series arc was excellent. We get some more, you know, payoff and exposition on what exactly Torchwood is, following on from, you know, Tooth and Claw, and what hasn't changed. I didn't realise at the time, guys, but I said Torchwood is basically the SCP Foundation of the Doctor Who universe.
I thought it was the shield of the Doctor Who universe.
Yeah, that too. It's like their motto is, if it's alien, it's ours. But I'd forgotten, they're actually kind of evil. They're really not that good.
Yeah.
Because I just thought they were this like
Yeah.
global impartial organization, but actually no, they are specifically serving the British
Yeah.
Empire.
They're the bad guys.
They're actually evil. The political undertones are pretty subtle, but like they mention that they're specifically weaponizing alien tech. They shoot down aliens on sight if they're in their territory, and they're like prerogative with some things here is purely selfish. They want to harness power, so they're no longer reliant on the Middle East, like specifically. It's quite explicit, and it's like, man, you think about the geopolitics of the Middle East in the last 20 years. Holy shit. And it really grounds their existence, because even though there's a lot of crazy sci-fi stuff, it actually makes them feel realistic. But it doesn't deviate from the plot. They don't go into detail. There's just a few mentions that if you're an adult, you catch, and you're like, wow, that is...
And it embeds it in the real world.
And it does, yeah, it feels grounded. It perfectly balances like exposition with the plot and everything. It keeps things moving because it's integrated into Yvonne Hartman's itinerary, you know, tour of the place with the Doctor. It's great. And then obviously there's all the stuff with the earpieces, the Cybermen, and Mickey's surprise appearance that ties back to the mid-series finale. I think Bad Batch is going to do a similar thing while we're on this topic. You have like halfway through the series, you have a kind of finale where something big happens, a character leaves, it changes, and then they return for, you know, the very ending. I think this is something that the Bad Batch might also be doing, but we will have to wait and see from that. But yeah, again, the kind of sci-fi concepts as well, because again, Doctor Who is primarily sci-fi, and explaining and like applying those concepts into the plot, this does really well.
Definitely.
I learned about parallel universes from the Cyberman two-parter, but the visual glass analogy, where he shatters it with a screwdriver in this episode, that cemented parallel universes and the trying to travel between them in my mind. Like that image really stuck in my mind as a child, and like, you know, this show actually kind of educated me in a way of these like fictional concepts and how they kind of relate to real science. It's crazy. But again, it's not just concise dialogue, choosing the right words, but portraying it in a unique way, which Tennant's charm carries very well. And again, this stand out for like working with sci-fi concepts. There's also the Void Sphere, which is just horrifying and amazing. I don't know if anyone remembers Raj, the scientist in charge there. He's awesome. I love him.
Roger Singh.
Man just did his job flawlessly. Absolute Giga Chad. Mickey's appearance was excellent too. No character is wasted. Again, they all feel consistent. They all have a reason to be there. And then the most hyped up episode, the most hyped up ending, just amazing plot twist because it keeps building up and it's set from the start. It's clearly the Cybermen and it's like building up to this big thing. But the Void Sphere is like a whole separate mystery on top of the ghosts and like the time between the void, and it's like you're working out how it all connects, and it builds up, and the Doctor works things out, and he has this conflict with Yvonne and Torchwood, and we're all like going around, and the Cybermen are infiltrating, with like Adiola as well. Again, this was the only thing I potentially disliked. I was trying to be critical. I was thinking maybe the Ghostbusters reference was cheesy when the Doctor like traps a ghost.
It's brief,
and that the awkwardness of the scene where Matt's lured into. But honestly,
I think it's meant to be a little bit.
Exactly. I was trying to find something to criticize here, but I think this episode was actually perfect. Like School Reunion, I think it was flawless. I can't think of anything I'd change.
Agreed.
It's just so good. But yeah, the last thing I'd say is that like I love that there's multiple things going on, and also things I haven't mentioned yet, which show that the story was planned in a really good way. But yeah. But, like, the reveal that the Cybermen, the Void Sphere wasn't the Cybermen, opens up this, like, amazing, intriguing... Seeing the Doctor's reaction and everything is just amazing, so... Alright, Joe, let's talk about Doomsday. We're almost there.
Oh.
I'm guessing...
Absolutely.
I mean, there's no question, guys. I clickbaited you putting this in the bag. This is GOAT-tier. This is absolute GOAT-tier, no question.
I think that Doomsday is...
Tell us about Doomsday.
Doomsday... I have a lot to say about Doomsday.
Where do we begin?
Yeah.
Let's just gloss over all the same stuff so we're not repeating ourselves. So, things like, the cinematography, the soundtrack, the direction. Excellent. Love it. I think... Creative.
The thing I really want... Sorry, man.
It's fine.
The thing I really want to highlight with Doomsday, most of all, is the emotional stakes again.
Again, yeah. Let's
between
focus
the characters.
On here.
The way they explain the time differences between the two parallel worlds. The Void stuff is all done compellingly. The return of the Daleks again.
Yeah.
It's like...
Do you remember the Daleks were cool, guys, when they had something original and innovative done every single time they appeared, instead of just the same old recycled stuff because it's low-hanging fruit that they know people will like.
Exactly. And like I said before, it adds to Dalek lore and to Time Lord lore.
Yeah, the lore, guys. The lore.
But it's all stuff that we already know, sort of, and the way it's like, what they do with the Genesis arc is very clever, and the way it plays off, it's like, I love the Doctor's reunions with Jake, Pete, and Mickey.
Yeah, we get all of them back from Age of Steel. It's great.
See the Daleks and the Cybermen have the bitch fight of Canary Wharf, I believe it's called.
That's what it's called,
It's so funny.
Dude, it is crazy to me that in like 6 years at this point? Or how
43, nearly.
43 years, there had never been Daleks and Cybermen on screen together in a mainline episode of Doctor Who. Yeah. Like, I don't know how that had not happened at some point before, because they've both been massive since the 60s.
In the 5 Doctors, they appear...
Well, yeah, kind of, but they don't really interact.
Episode, but the Daleks only have a cameo, and there's only one of them.
It's just cameos.
Whereas the Cybermen are given significantly more to do.
But, like, in this episode, we finally see them actually interact for the first time on screen, and it is amazing. It is, like, a fanboy's dream come true. It is so well written.
Yeah, I remember Russell T Davies talking about it.
Just to specifically talk about that point, because I made a note. Because I had so much to say about this, I just listed them off.
Yeah. Like, what you would have... Like, if you have a Cyberman toy and a Dalek toy, you don't just make them sit around and do nothing. You have them fight.
Yeah, man.
And it makes so much sense. I think the Cult of Skaro conceptually are a work of genius. And I would have liked to have seen them used more.
This is one of my only complaints about
that, them.
But that's all
but I find them very compelling, very entertaining. And the way that the Doctor instantly recognises, that's what this is. I think is I think it's just a lot of fun. Where's my tier list gone?
Oh crap! Sorry, I accidentally hit a button and it refreshed the page. It's okay, I can fix this. It'll only take a moment.
Don't worry.
We're gonna go over this again at the end. Actually, I'm just gonna show off mine for a minute, and then we can just get a rerun of Joe's, because for some reason it's defaulted to mine. That's stupid. We'll fix that in a minute.
It is stupid.
Joe, just finish when we both rank Doomsday up here.
But
So
Doomsday is like, you get those necessary moments of levity throughout because you know it's a big, heavy story.
yeah,
And ultimately, you know, the Daleks, the Cybermen, the Parallel Worlds, Torchwoods, it all factors into each other, and it's all done organically. None of it is done haphazardly, and it's all. You get a sense that RTD has taken great care with writing this one, as he often does.
that's actually another thing we should mention. Like, this is not an original show starting up. This is a revival of a show that has decades and decades of history and culture. And it's not just, innovating. It's actually being consistent with the old material. It wasn't a reboot. It didn't, in terms of, like, the lore, it actually was part of one universe. Everything is canon. Time is in flux. That's why there's inconsistencies. Yeah. Doctor Who doesn't have an approach to lore like a lot of fandoms do. It's kind of weird. Like, lore isn't really a thing we talk about, but,
it's very fluid.
There was a lot of respect to the original material, and it was made with a consistent vibe that modernized it appropriately in a way that I don't think we've really seen since. It's remarkable what Russell T and his team did with Doctor Who.
Yeah, but the emotional payoffs and the way they solve the problems of the Daleks and the Cybermen and the Void, it all just comes very authentically and very naturally, and the emotional epilogue.
Yeah. I'm not reading it all out,
the
but I
epilogue,
still
it's
quotes,
like,
Ethan. Yeah, I acknowledge this.
It feels some of it does feel very of the time and deliberately cheesy. You have these star-crossed lovers.
Yeah, pretty much.
Essentially, but it's on the whole it's very, very well done, and it pays everything off from 2 years of storytelling.
Yeah,
and it's just deeply, deeply sad. But everyone gets something to do.
Honestly, I don't think it's that tragic. I think Rose is a crybaby. I'm gonna do full on bait right now. She survived. She got saved. She's living happily, guys.
Matt hasn't had.
You're a bunch of whiny
Matt
bitch
hasn't
ass.
had his medication.
Okay. Jokes aside, no, obviously it's a
you, Matt.
really tragic ending, but
yeah. But I don't have a lot to say about it.
I'm gonna run through my notes.
Go for it.
So a lot of the stuff I can say the same thing, and again, the foreshadowing and just narrative structure is really beautiful. You can tell that they've refined this. They've very carefully put all the characters in the right place at the right time. In Yvonne's tour at the start, the magnetic clamps are introduced, and they're like one of the most crucial MacGuffins for the ending. Of the entire series, because they're like a critical component of how the Doctor and Rose end up separated. So it's they're introduced nicely. The symbolism of the white wall where the Void portal lies. Also, the Void seems to be depicted as a blank white space, because it's a white light that comes out of the Void ship as well, which just vanishes after they come out of it, which is kind of strange. I don't know how that works, but there's a lot of symbolism there again, because before when they're side by side against the wall, when Dave, I keep calling him by his real name because of Dan, he always calls him Dave. When the 10th Doctor goes to Pete's world for the first time, he puts his head against the wall, feeling it before the ending. It's a lot of foreshadowing. Just lots of little things like that add up. And the Void Stuff 3D glasses, these things are present almost from right at the beginning. They're present throughout, and they appear frequently, but they're not. It's not until the last 20 minutes where they're finally explained. It's subtle and stylish.
Oh yeah.
Because again, it's lots and lots of kind of what you might call MacGuffins, sci-fi, convenient, random technology to explain stuff, but they're integrated into the plot seamlessly. You've got the Void Stuff glasses, the Magna clamps, the Void ship, the sphere they call it. The earpieces were fully explained in the Cybermen story as well, and you've got Torchwood with all the alien stuff in general. one problem that actually did stick out to me is regarding void stuff. The void is described as an absolute void of nothingness, the space between spaces. So what is this background radiation that you get exclusively from traveling through it? If it's completely empty, then what is this radiation that the glasses can detect? Doesn't really make sense. I can appreciate the convenient physics of the void filtering out all of the matter to automatically suck it back in. Like, I don't mind that, rather than just sucking everything and just sucking in stuff that's been through the void. I think that makes sense, but, like, I think they should have maybe just spent a couple seconds maybe elaborating. They could have chosen dark matter to be void stuff. I think that would have made a lot of sense if void stuff is dark matter, because that still fits in with the idea that it's like a vacuum of, like, negative space. But I don't think there's absolutely nothing in the void, otherwise the void stuff can't be a thing. It's kind of, doesn't really make sense, but it's just a nitpick. This is me trying to be critical. Anyway, Mickey, it's just nice to have him back. Again, witty and brave, generally evolved from his kind of cowardly disposition in Series 1. A lot more confident. Jake has a fairly small role, but he's like Mickey. He has a great, entrance. Very different, but great entrance. And, he's quite funny. He was like, oh, he could take the lift, towards the end. And, again, this is another example of the plot threads being ingeniously connected. Like, he kills the cyber leader, and as they, explain that, one of the next one just downloads a file and upgrades to the next cyber leader, we see that happen to be the one that's escorting Jackie, so Jackie is allowed to escape. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
It's absolutely brilliant. It's like connecting one thing to another, keeping Jackie in the loop, not going too long without showing her at all, to remind the viewer of all the different plot threads. Yeah. Even though she's just on the stairs for ages, it's funny.
Anything specific? Anything notable? Yes, a fire extinguisher.
Yeah, it's so good.
That helps.
Jackie. Anyway, and also, I love the Doctor's dynamic with her because he has to pretend that she's Rose in Army of Ghosts.
Oh,
it's so funny.
Alan Z, but not too quickly.
And he's like, oh, she lived in the heart of the time of the TARDIS, aged 50 years. Not all there with it. Just completely roasts her. It's great.
Yeah.
Yvonne Hartman, I think, is an underrated character. She's like basically the in charge of Torchwood, or like this Torchwood location. And I think her send-off is brilliant because it shows that she's still this like arrogant representative of an authoritarian establishment, but she's also deeply consistent, strong-willed, and ultimately human because she, is the repeat line, I did my duty for Queen and Country, and she literally saves the Doctor and Rose from the Cybermen. And, funnily enough, the Cybermen's return is already foreshadowed because they mentioned something about retreating through the breach into the homeworld. It's funny because the Daleks absolutely smashed the Cybermen in combat, but the Cybermen, in a way, were actually a lot more resourceful than the Daleks. They were the ones actually prepared to lose. They were more realistic. The Daleks are completely unrealistic about their ambitions. They think they're unstoppable, whereas the Cybermen were the ones who actually escaped. Of course, the Cult of Scar escaped, but the Genesis Daleks did not, as I call them. The rest of them just got sucked into the void. Now, the Cult of Skaro, again, just amazing thing. I love the bitch fight of Canary Wharf. One of the best scenes in New Who. So funny. It's like Stephen Hawking and the Talking Clock. Amazing. And I love how it's a funny scene, but you also highlight the similarities with these two alien species and their parallels. Like, Sec detects that Rose's heart rate is increased and that she has information valuable to them. And then the Cyber Leader detects that the Doctor's adrenaline has gone up and detects that he's got valuable information. And it's because the Doctor and Rose are worrying about each other, which ties into the whole series arc of those two and their relationship. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. But again, we get more of the Time War backstory, which is really cool. Some little drops and references. And we get a bit of Eccleston, finally, with the Doctor's dark side, because we see how anxious he is at the reveal of the Daleks. It's almost like he's pleading, don't team up, if these two... Because
go on.
I just think something interesting about the story is that, I mean, I know power scaling is a bit of a stupid thing in fandoms, and it's like, you can't precisely attribute consistent power to everything and everyone in a story, but I think if the Daleks and Cybermen had actually teamed up, they would have won. I think it would have been over for the Doctor and his companions. Like, there would have been a regeneration. Everyone would have died. I think the fact that the Daleks were so arrogant to refuse the team up was actually crucial to them winning, because them fighting each other literally allowed everyone else to escape, and buy them time really to reunite and form a plan, and the Doctor to get the magnet clamps. Again, I mentioned that it's got... I'll come back to that later, actually. But But yeah, the point is that the Daleks were unique. We have like, you know, they have this specific scheme. They're more intelligent. They're like an elite group. It's really interesting. And Rose's interactions with them actually, like, you know, Ethan quoted in chat about, you know, actually, you know, now you're scared and that I saw the Emperor die, I turned him to dust. That was an excellent bit of Bad Wolf. Jackie and Pete, this is an underrated thing. I love that you've got a married couple from different parallel universes where their other, like, partner died in some way. So it was a really interesting form of love to have them come together, because it was really strange. Like, Pete keeps trying to deny it, and Jackie's being all standoffish. She's like, I don't care about that. How very rich. It's like, how very. It's so funny.
It's a good spin on it.
And then they embrace it. It's just absolutely beautiful. It's got that authentic domestic edge, which kind of defined what I call maybe the Tyler era of Who. I don't know.
Yeah.
The Tyler family. The action sequences are amazing. You've got the Daleks, the Cybermen, Torchwood, and the People's Republic, the, you know, Preacher's troops from the parallel universe, all fighting in the, you know, area, and it's like something out of Star Wars. You've got all the laser sounds, the energy bolts, the shields. It's so good. It's just total fan service, but I love it, and it feels earned, you know. And then we got the ending, so everyone gets sent to Pete's world. But Rose is, of course, you know, obnoxious in her relentless loyalty to the Doctor. She insists on staying, and we finally get the climax where she ends up falling into the void because of, you know, the clamps failing with the technical errors. And now, I got to be honest, this is my other main complaint about the episode. Where is it? I think I mentioned it here. I have no idea how Pete knew where to stand in the exact right place, at the exact right time, and catch Rose without also falling into the void himself, since he would also be being pulled with the void stuff. It's very convenient, and I think it's perfect that Rose ends up in Pete's world. I'm not complaining about that, but I think the way it was done was just incredibly Deus Ex Machina.
I suppose, but I think with that one, I think you have to really suspend your disbelief.
You have to, because it doesn't make sense.
Think about where Pete was standing.
But it's like, how does he know when, and how does he also not get sucked in? It doesn't make sense.
I'm not sure.
The established logic. The thing is, right, I think it's probably the best case scenario, because would you rather the character motives are consistent and sensible and the sci-fi logic falls apart, or the sci-fi logic is consistent and sensible and the character motives fall apart? I think it's better this way around.
Absolutely.
I don't know. That's a very tricky thing. And I'm not saying it could have been done better, because it's a very tricky thing. I'm not saying I could have done it better, but it's very, you have to really suspend your disbelief.
I like that it's Pete rather than Mickey or Jake.
I like that, yeah, because also Pete's relationship with Rose started off really awkward, because he was really weirded out by the idea that she's his daughter from another universe, but here it's like they are, you know, reconciled and close together. And then, you know, we see them settle down in the parallel world, and we get a bit of a time jump back to the narration that started both episodes with Rose at Bad Wolf Bay, which is perfect. I love that they picked a real life location. Not only sounds like Dalek, which they joked about in the episode, but also translates to Bad Wolf.
Dalek Ulfstranden.
Because also it's just convenient. It's like a bleak looking beach, which is just tonally perfect, and like
somewhere in Wales.
You know, no, it's in Norway, I think they say.
No, they filmed in Wales.
Oh, they filmed it in Wales. Yeah. No, it is in Wales, and when they filmed it, but also having Bad Wolf return one last time is it's clever, because it really, Series 2 is like an extension of Series 1 in a way. It's simple, effective, incredibly emotional. The performance on Billie Piper's part is amazing, top tier, sort of top tier acting, just really great, you know, emotional performance as actors, and like the shifting from between all these different emotions, because it leads straight to the Christmas special, flows beautifully because of the scoring and the direction, and it's like remarkable, like how quickly it jumps from one tone to the next. Like, it goes from, like, you're really tense, and it's like, oh my god, little hair, then you're really anxious, and then it's really sad, because it's like their final goodbye, and it's cut off, and he doesn't get to say what he was gonna say, because the supernova burned up, and then there's this hilarious, you know, moment with Donna being all bossy and angry. And then I have my overall review of the series here, and I didn't actually have time to write anything about the Runaway Bride. We'll do that last, but the thing about Series 2 is that I feel like there was the reason why I think this series was weaker than most. it's not that it was even that bad, because the standard is so high with Doctor Who. It is so high. At the very least with the Russell T era, because it's easy to compare. I know for a fact, Series 3 and 4, there's like one bad episode and that sets it down, because there isn't like a bad episode in the other series.
Yeah.
Like, there's very little that goes below, like, okay. Like, look at the shape of this tier list. Joe, I'm gonna fix yours now. In fact, yeah, no, Joe, can we,
May I?
no, hold on, I got you. I remember this was here, and you put, was it Idiot's Lantern here?
Yeah.
Rise of Simon, Age of Steel.
New Earth was also fantastic.
Yeah, that was it. And was that it? Wasn't that it?
I think Swap.
Wasn't that different?
I'll tell you what. Hold on. Let's have a quick look.
If you want to review, think about the series overall.
I'm just having a quick look. To the Claw School Union. No, I'd say
think that was it.
I'd say that's right.
Let me get them in chronological order.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that is what your tier list was. We can always change it, but yeah.
No, that's.
But my last thoughts on the series is that the thing is, I don't like that they really forced emphasis, and it was brilliantly and subtly done in places, like in School Reunion, Tooth and Claw, and, you know, Army of Ghosts. Like, love how the Doctor and Rose's relationship is, like, challenged. But then you've got, like, Love and Monsters and Fear, where it's very clunky and on the nose with the exposition. And the Doctor and Rose's romantic relationship, their relationship period, is a thing that has constantly been developing since the very first episode, because by existing together, the characters obviously have to have a relationship in the writing. I don't like that as a series central arc. I don't think it matters. I don't think it works, because it exists no matter what. That should have, like, that's an element of the show that's always there regardless, and just having that means this is more like an anthology of disconnected episodes, but most of them are very good as standalones, right?
Oh, yeah.
Especially the two-parters. So that's fine, actually. It's not that big a problem. But I think, like, you know, Bad Wolf of Series 1, that was threaded through every episode. I feel like Series 2 would have benefited from something similar. Again, it could have been the Cybermen. It could have been the idea of parallel worlds.
I think they tried to do it with Torchwood.
It could be, I guess, maybe. But Torchwood wasn't mentioned in every episode, I don't think. And even then, there's no one thing that's in every episode, except for just the relationship, which is great. But again, I think it's a bit hammy and cheesy with the series arc. But of course, not every episode has to be connected to the series arc. But sometimes I just think I'm being told I have to care about the series rather than be shown why I should care. And actually, this is a bit of a hot take, which I heard years ago on a different Doctor Who channel. I don't think it was Hardware Holmes or something. But I was curious about it. And having rewatched this, I don't think Rose is the most unique or developed Doctor Who companion at this point in time. And her dynamic with the Doctor doesn't really change much in Series 2. And maybe that's the point, but it's like, it's pretty much the same start to finish. And I think there are more interesting and more developed companions. I'm immediately thinking of Martha and Donna, because Rose was great, right, and serviceable, and definitely, like, an interesting character, but she wasn't really that different from a lot of previous companions. I mean, such as Sarah Jane, if I'm being really honest here. Over time. She was good, but, like, I feel like Rose is not, like, the best companion ever. She's kind of overrated in that regard. So, you can see what I said about Doomsday. The only other thing I'd say is that I think the Daleks could have been more developed as individuals, because they're named, but we only really get Sek and a bit of Thay in terms of, like, actual interactions, but that's fixed in Series 3. And then we got Runaway Bride, which, I don't know, we'll talk about last. But yeah, Joe, that is... I mean, have you got anything to say about, like, the series arc overall?
I'm not sure.
Because I'm just spitballing.
It's been a while since I watched all of it properly.
Yeah, I've rewatched this recently, so I can pick out details. But yeah.
But for me,
EDJ.
I think that because I remember watching it when. Sorry, it's just the week's catching up with me now. I remember watching it when it went out for the first time.
Oh, yeah, we're going for about 3 hours now. Almost 3 hours. 2 hours 53. One more episode, and then we're done, guys. This is shorter than last time, which is nice. I thought we'd need like 4 hours, but no, 3. We've done it.
Yeah, smashed it. I think with Series 2, it's an interesting one, because Series 1 does have a clear through line with Bad Wolf, and by the time you get around to it, it's like you know everything you need to.
Yeah.
Whereas with Torchwood, there's more of an air of mystery to it. And
honestly, Torchwood is kind of... I didn't notice that Torchwood was building up. Like, it appeared in Army of Ghosts, and you realize, oh yeah, this is a thing that's been. It wasn't like Bad Wolf. It wasn't threaded
Wolf
consistently.
has one mention of Torchwood.
It's like it has to
on the
remind
weakest link.
you of Tooth and Claw, even though this is amazing. Yeah, like this has to remind you of Tooth and Claw because it wasn't really in school reunion. I mean, why would it be here?
But you get drip-fed little bits.
Torchwood was mentioned in the Impossible Planet, I think.
It was mentioned in all of them.
Really? Was it?
It was mentioned in Love and Monsters as well.
I'm gonna need. I didn't pick up on that. I guess.
Yeah, but there's at least
maybe
one,
that's just me.
There's
Maybe
at least one Torchwood reference in every episode except New Earth and I think Fear Her. But I think as a whole, it's like Torchwood is shrouded in mystery, and I think that's quite nice.
Mm.
The
You're right. Torchwood.
The Doctor and Rose's relationship, I think, when it works really, really well.
Yeah.
When it goes,
it's only these 2 episodes I disliked in this series. Like in terms of episodes that were actually bad, series arc or individually, like man, it's a strong series.
It is. I think series 1 is stronger as a whole.
It's just that the standard is so high with you. I thought series 1 nailed like plot arc and character arc better than any series.
Yeah.
I need to rewatch them though to judge because I need refreshing.
Oh, are you taking off, Banana Boy?
All right, Livy.
All right.
Banana Boy. See you around. You have a good one.
Take care.
Ethan, I just on that point, I think that's interesting to mention because I think that's very deliberate. I don't think it should have ended like Journey's End because the fact that it's abruptly cut off, announces the Christmas special and kind of like surprises you, I think that adds a bit of charm.
Yeah.
It shouldn't end all sad. It should end cheerful. Remember, it's a family show. It's for all ages.
Exactly.
Kids are going to be watching it. It's like I think ending on the light-hearted beat is much better.
I do like
Hope.
I think I like that they did with the Cybermen this time around what they did with the Daleks in Series 1. I thought that was quite interesting.
Yes, it's like this was the Cyberman series. Series 1 was the Daleks. This series is the Cyberman. You're getting all the main antagonists, the Who villains.
Exactly.
Really given time to develop.
Yeah, I do think that there are some great concepts, especially like The Girl in the Fireplace, Fear Her, and Love and Monsters all feature great concepts. But I feel like more could have been done with them, especially the latter 2.
Yeah, it's never perfect, guys. There's always more potential.
The Girl in the Fireplace is revisited, and it's all the better for it. But I feel like with Love and Monsters and Fear, they were a few drafts away from each episode from really getting a tight, solid script.
They could have been on the level of New Earth or Idiot's Lantern for me, but
but as a whole, I give it a soft A.
Like, as an overall series. This is something I should do. After I've done Series 10, after the 60th specials are done, I should do, like, a series tier list where we rate the series.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know.
Count me in.
Oh, yeah, I need to think about that. But, yeah, the thing is, guys, you gotta look at the bigger picture. The sheer quality and consistency of Doctor Who in this era is actually remarkable. I'd say, like, even just for Series 2... Like, this many S-tier episodes that were all just absolutely just mind-blowing in terms of, storytelling and, building this world while also doing something new and original and commentating on society and all kinds of things. Like, it's just really well written and really well produced.
It is.
It's remarkable.
I do think, however, that if we're talking about production values, visual quality at least...
Oh, yeah.
The Runaway Bride, I think... It's the most polished looking of all of them.
Yeah, because, let me show you guys actually. The Runaway Bride, I think this is when they finally got a bigger budget or something.
Yeah,
because
they enhanced the lighting on the TARDIS.
They finally got, like, better resolution. Series 1 does not exist in HD because that was the budget back then. But also, this series is the this episode, is the very first episode... Get out of here, Lance. This is the first episode to actually feature the logo as it is here.
Yeah.
See, this is the iconic Tennant era logo. This was used for everything from this to End of Time, right?
Yeah.
With, like, the fire brow. And this was already being used in Series 1 in, like, the credits as, like, the still image. But the thing is, the actual intro, the actual, like, logo plate in the intro was being rendered differently. And it was still using the thing from Series 1 with the kind of what I call the metal look up until Doomsday.
Yeah.
You see how it looks different? This is in the thumbnail as well.
I quite like that metal look though.
This looks cool, but the other one is way more iconic.
Oh yeah.
But yeah,
It's just got a stronger look to it.
exactly. Just with like the vortex, the fiery reddish like vortex.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's time to end the stream, guys. We just got to rank the Runaway Bride because it's the bonus.
I
and
think.
we're done.
I think with Runaway Bride, if we talk about it very quickly for
I didn't make notes on it
Second.
because I got sidetracked, but
fair enough. But one thing I will say is I think Catherine Tate is excellent, but I do think her best appearances as Donna are yet to come. The Rachnos, because I don't like spiders very much, I found quite startling. But I thought the actress who played the Rachnos was excellent.
the Rhinos is great,
Lance is a douche. I thought it was a really nice epilogue, and that it tied a little bow on
Well, this is
Doomsday,
the thing,
and it helped the Doctor process
this
his
isn't
grief.
just like a good like one-off story like the Idiot's Lantern with like, you know, the introduction of Donna and like her dynamic is hilarious. It's also like actually seeing the Doctor post Rose for the first time and his kind of grief and his you know, vulnerability. Like, there's a great moment where he's watching two people dance and he's reminded of Rose.
Oh, the song that plays in that "Love Don't Roam" I've listened to on a loop countless
Me too.
times.
I've rediscovered it for the first time.
It's
a banger.
What a belter. I would have this one. I'd put it as fantastic.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say good because
Fair enough.
I didn't like some of the direction choices. It did this transition thing where it would just have the camera just zoom and emotion blur and turn, and it just looked janky.
Fair enough. I know what you mean. Like when the robot Santas show up
Yeah.
at the wedding.
Also, I don't get the pilot fish. We saw them in way more detail this time. So they're like robots, but like how or why the Rachnos has them this time, other than the sticker acts, is just not really explained. It's
I'm not
kinda random.
sure.
They're just a bit random, really. They're like, oh, it's Christmas. We'll just
But
bring
I
back the
think
pilot
in terms of moving the story forward as a whole, that I think that's why I would put it as fantastic.
Yeah, it's
because
okay. The plot was okay. It was a bit slow. It
puts-
was good.
It plots a trajectory for the Doctor moving forward.
Yeah.
And seeing him without Rose is very compelling.
The critical thing, I mean, it ties into Torchwood nicely. Lance is, you know, a great
yeah.
character. And Donna, again, I love how different Donna is from Rose. They immediately mark her out. They, you know, she's getting married to someone else, so she's not a romantic interest for the Doctor. She's, you know, bossy and angry and, like, you know, just completely different. And also, like, she's conveniently missed all of the other events. She missed, you know, the ghosts. She missed
because she
the
was
Sticker Axe
hungover
invasion.
or on holiday.
Yeah,
or,
it's so funny.
you know,
Scuba diving in
because she's-
Spain.
You know, because she's thinking about her own world.
She's just
one of those.
Catherine Tate's just brilliant.
She's excellent.
Yeah, maybe I should give this fantastic. I don't know, because there wasn't that much wrong with it.
I like the final scene. The last 5 minutes are quite touching.
That's the important part. Like, also there's a Mr. Saxon reference.
Oh yes.
But also, like, we get to see Donna be introduced to the TARDIS and her reaction to that, and, you know, being taken back to the creation of the Earth, and see her kind of bond with the Doctor more, and be less, like, you know, standoffish. But also the important thing is that we see she does declines traveling with him, but she's like tells him, you know, you need to find someone because when you're on your own, there's no one to tell you to stop. And it's the beginning of this arc, which is crucial to series 3, of the kind of, this is the first time the Doctor's been on his own since before Rose.
Yeah.
Which, if you take your mind back, the Doctor's mindset then was like pretty much just coming out of the Time War, like within, you know, days possibly. We don't know.
Yeah.
And you realise that he's going back to his more dark and brooding self, because something that we didn't realise is that the whole time, as, you know, Rose fed off the Doctor to, you know, give herself joy, the Doctor fed off Rose, and we didn't really realise, but it's this clever subversion. Actually, having Rose, you know, gave the Doctor like more direction and purpose and joy in life, because she, like, they just have this beautiful dynamic and bond, and they can always rely on each other.
Yeah.
Now that Rose is gone, you know, he's almost kind of grieving. She's not dead, and this isn't mentioned, but it's like, you know, he's got it's the lonely god thing again. The lonely angel is what he's referred to in
Exactly, the lonely god.
Fireplace.
I think
And,
they call him in New Earth.
Exactly, and it's like he, you know, has to deal with like being completely distant because he's relative to these humans, he's immortal. He, you know, transcends time. He has a completely different life that forces him apart. It's the beginning of that kind of tragic hero kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
Yeah, and you see that play out over the rest of the Tennant era.
I've forgotten the details of this dynamic, but when I get to Series 3, I'm going to have a lot more to say about it. So yeah, you know, I'm actually giving this fantastic, because There are some things I didn't like about it. Like, you could clearly tell it was being filmed in the summer. My dad joked about it the other day because, like, it's supposed to be set at Christmas, but, like, it's so sunny. And the pacing's a bit off.
I wish our Christmases were that sunny.
No, I don't, actually. They have been. I think, if anything, it was showing how it's been drying because of global warming the last, like, 10, 15 years.
Pete Tyler mentions it.
There was, like, a 10-year period. Oh, well, that was a different thing. But, yeah, there's been, like, a 10-year period in my life where we just had no snow because of climate change, pretty much.
Yeah.
And it finally snowed. It's like, oh, my God, I miss this. But yeah, Pete's World is interesting because it's simultaneously shown to be dystopian, but also much safer and better because they have like a People's Republic that got rid of Torchwood and everything. It's I don't know, it's weird.
Oh, I'd love a People's Republic.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's not get political, but it's interesting.
I think.
Anyway, that's our final tier lists, guys. I'm gonna go post mine onto the Hydration Nation. I'll post yours as well if you want, Joe.
Thank you. Could you save mine and send it to me, please?
Sure. How do you want me to send it to you?
Up to you.
I'll email it because Instagram is difficult on here.
Good lad.
But yeah, I'm just going to post this in discussion 3 later. And I'll email Joe's.
Thank you.
And yeah, that's it, guys.
While my learned colleague here is doing that,
Joe, do you mind your email being exposed or? Wait, this is the wrong email. Shit. Wait. You saw nothing. I shouldn't be showing my email. What the hell am I doing?
No. You know my Outlook one.
Hold on. Okay, I don't think there's anything crazy that was exposed on there, actually. I think we're good.
Yeah.
But, I should be showing my email on camera.
This is why you shouldn't invest in Bitcoin, man.
Is it that?
Yeah, that's the one.
Oh, perfect. Nice, simple.
Yeah.
I'll just do, DWS2T.
Yeah.
Can't be bothered to type out full words.
Abbreviate.
You could crop out Joe at the bottom if you want.
Yeah.
But yeah, you didn't think there was a bad episode in Series 2?
For the most part, I felt like Love and Monsters and Fear were the weakest of the bunch.
But they're okay. They're not bad.
Yeah,
Are there any?
They're not like Colin Baker levels of bad.
True. That's a whole different thing. Joe, are there any bad episodes on this screen?
Yeah.
We haven't even talked about all of this.
Exactly. Now, before I take off, I'm going to say 2 things. First of all,
yeah, stream is
stay hydrated.
ending, so...
And also, don't forget to click below to subscribe to the official Mr. Matt YouTube
That's the perfect outro. I was going to do my outro. That's perfect. That's it. That's what I'm finishing with. I'm stealing your quote. But yeah, guys, the stream is over. Before you go, we need to pick a QOTD winner. So have a go if you haven't already. Want a chance to win a shout out. Tomorrow, I don't know if I'm going to stream because I'm busy. I've got a bunch of things going. But this week is reading week for me, which basically means it's half term. I'm still doing work, but I'm not going out to class. I'm going to be at home all of next week. So hopefully that means I'm going to have time to do like daily streams.
He's out clubbing.
No, I'm not. But what that means, guys, is that very soon, if not tomorrow, the day after, I'm finally going to be beginning Choo Choo Charles. I know
my God.
This is a series that has been highly requested, and I'm finally going to be starting my playthrough
That
tomorrow.
looks terrifying.
I just realised, yeah. Joe's a big Thomas the Tank Engine fan, so this is nightmare fuel for you. I'm very sorry. I just realised. This is a game, for those of you who don't know, like Joe. Navigate an open-world island in an old train, upgrade it over time, and use it to fight an evil spider train named Charles.
Charles?
That is the premise.
Doesn't get more evil than that.
This is the most bizarre game.
That is hilarious.
It is horrifying, it's hilarious, it's an evil spider train named Charles, we've got to kill him. So I'm going to be playing this soon, guys.
That is nightmare fuel.
And again, check out Joe, his Instagram's there, Crisis, all the other links, they're all below. And if you want to make your own tier list, feel free to post it on the Hydration Nation.
And also,
I'm going to post this here.
make sure,
hashtag...
one other thing,
No,
while Matt's doing that, make sure to check yourself out every once in a while.
What?
I mean it. Make sure that you're okay.
Okay.
That
check yourself out had me imagining something else.
No. I know. But what I'm saying is, we've been through I don't want to get too serious or go on too long, but it's been a really mad decade so far. And I just want to say, I hope you're all looking after yourselves.
It's been a really mad decade. Yeah, you have one of those decades.
Like, seriously, if you need time, just
compared to last decade.
If you need time just to get away from, daily stresses, social media, anything like that,
I'll figure this
be
out.
Totally unashamed.
What he said.
Now,
be thee thine unashamed of thine poopy duty. Did we have any? I don't think we had any QOTD answers. Also, Big Mouth Chicken. There's 2 Matts. This is my brother Joe. Yes.
I'm gonna go eat.
I love it. Yeah, I'm getting hungry as well.
But once again, should we say...
Bro, we're in sync.
Yeah.
Guys, our periods
Yeah.
are in sync. We're both getting hungry at the same time.
Wait, yours is as well as mine?
Yeah, that's exactly how that
All right,
works.
well...
My stomach is rumbling,
as we
oh
sign
my
off,
God.
As we sign off, because we need our food, do you want to... Should we say it together, or...?
Hold on. I want to pick a QOTD winner.
Okay.
The advanced dude. You're going to win by default if no one else attempts this.
What's the advanced dude said?
The advanced
Great
dude
name, by
says,
the way.
never saw Doctor Who, but I think if Freddy Fazbear joined and said it's Fred in time, it would be pretty cool. And it's, in my opinion, a missed opportunity.
Yeah, well...
Tell you what, a Doctor Who tier list would be nuts.
The nearest we can
Doctor
probably
Who
do is...
FNAF crossover.
Yeah, it's Fox in time.
Bruh. Dude, I'm not going to lie. A Doctor Who FNAF crossover, I'm going to talk about that next time. Because, guys, we're out of time. Because that was funny, I'm actually going to give the advanced dude a shout out, but the stream is ending now. Right.
So,
don't forget to click below to subscribe to the official Mr. Matt YouTube channel. And stay hydrated.
Cheers. Thanks for having me.